not through tradition, but from change. Last year's points came, as they always had, from strong option football. But the bone has been broken. Now the ball is in the air, enough to become the 4th most effective passing attack in the land. Still blocking the path to the Orange Bowl is a Kansas barricade, but that roadblock is for another day, as a pair of 8th-ranked Road Warriors collide here in Lincoln. Sold-out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. And what a dandy we've got for you this afternoon. The 2 8th-ranked teams in the country, the Buffaloes, once tied, and the once-beaten Nebraska Cornhuskers set to do battle. It's trick-or-treat time. Whoever can turn the trick and win this game might find the Orange Bowl to be the treat at the end of the season. But, of course, Kansas will have something to say about that, too. Hi again, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler, along with Gary Danielson. Happy Halloween from Lincoln, Nebraska. Halloweens have been good to Nebraska. They've won 15 of these games, and they've won 23 straight homecoming encounters. If they're to make it number 24 against Colorado, they put it on the shoulders of a freshman quarterback.
And that's something for Tom Osborne. I mean, he's supposed to be conservative, but he's going to go with Tommy Frazier, a true freshman, to play quarterback. But don't worry here. He's got a good running game to go to. But things happen when you play with freshmen. Look at this versus Missouri last week. First, he fumbles a snap. Remember, he's got 4.5 speed. He can do it with a great arm, but he can do it with his legs. I think he's going to have a good ball game, but he's going to have to avoid turnovers on 3rd down to really get this Nebraska offense going.
Well, the Nebraska offense has been the case since Bob Devaney's days, 30 years, always running the football. They're leading the country in rushing right now. Colorado, on the other hand, used to do it that way. And boy, what a 360 they've done in a year with their offense.
And you wonder why change. I mean, that's the question. But there's some reasons for it. Bill thought McCartney had to have a little bit better offense. And this is the game he's going to have to prove it. He knew he had better wide receivers. And he also knew he had a bowl game to go to this offense. So he had a whole year and an offseason to go to it. And this is the game, though, that he has to show he can do it. He's got a strong defense. But today, they must turn on the offense.
All right. The last team to beat Colorado in Big 8 play, you guessed it, Nebraska. ESPN's presentation of CFA College Football is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. By Genie's Screwdrive Garage Door Openers, built for a lifetime. And by DeskJet Printers from Hewlett-Packard. DeskJet Printers, make it happen. A college football first here in Lincoln. Never before have 2 teams been tied in the polls and set to do battle. Couple of 8s here today. The polls will close when this one's over, Gary.
Pair of 8s, but Tom Osborne knows that he still has yet to prove he can win against top 10 teams. That man has made his turnaround by playing against Nebraska.
A big rivalry for Colorado. Nebraska would dispute that, but here come the Buffalo. The only blemish on their record, a tie with Oklahoma. And for homecoming 1992, here come the Huskers. Five and 1 for Nebraska. We've talked about their quarterback situation. What we haven't touched on is Colorado's. Let's go to the 3rd man of our crew, Dr. Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Thank you very much, Brad. Hello, everyone. You know, the big question mark, as you said, at Colorado this year has been at the quarterback position. No, not talent. They certainly have a wealth of that, but injuries to primary starter Cordell Stewart. The sophomore from Louisiana suffered a left mid-foot sprain early in the year against Baylor. Then he broke a bone in his left wrist, a navicular bone against Missouri. He was named the starter last Monday by Bill McCartney. Then McCartney reneged and said, no, I'm not sure who the starter would be. And then McCartney closed practice. So the big mystery in Boulder is who would start this game. Will it be the freshman Corey Detmer or possibly the sophomore, often injured, Cordell Stewart? We'll wait and see. Brett?
And we'll find out in about 30 seconds because Nebraska won the toss, deferred to the second half. And the second half weather could become a big question mark. As it always is between these 2 teams. It's not one of your sunny, balmy days. 50 at game time. It'll get worse. And Gary and I have seen some of this rain already almost take the form of snow up here in the press box.
keep your mind on one thing, that the passing game is affected by the rain, yes, but so is the option game, and Nebraska will need it to win.
Byron Bennett has got it teed up for Nebraska. T.J. Cunningham back deep for Colorado. Cunningham slips. Immediately the weather comes into play. A lucky bounce for Colorado. Scott Phillips got it out near the 10-yard line. And here comes Coy Detmer to start at quarterback for Colorado. Let's take a look at the Energizer starting lineups. The McDonald's starting lineups look like this. Coy Detmer, he led the team to wins over Minnesota and Iowa. Lamont Warren joins him in the backfield. Michael Westbrook leads the Big Eight in all-purpose yards. Poirier, Cunningham, and Johnson join him. And Detmer in and out of the hands, and it's intercepted on the opening play of the game by Travis Hill.
A very safe pass coming out to start the game. Detmer throws it slightly high. Thought it should have been caught. Already a turnover, but remember this. 19 fumbles inside their own territory. They've only given up 1 field goal, Colorado's defense.
Rick Brown on the first carry got it to the 14-yard line. Not the way the freshman quarterback wanted to start the game. Nebraska changes up its personnel offensively with a 2nd down and 8 coming up the football just inside the Colorado 14-yard line. Their freshman Tommy Frazier at quarterback. Abdul Muhammad, the man he called to on the right side with an audible. Here comes the pressure. Incomplete intended for Muhammad. Offensively for Nebraska, Tommy Frazier, the true freshman, is the man at quarterback. Lewis and Brown join him, the wee backs, in this tailback-oriented offense. Tyrone Hughes will play both split end and some defensive back today, as well as return kicks and punts. Washington and Hawkins join him. Shields, a 305-pounder, anchors a good offensive front.
Brown and Jones are both in there.
3rd down and 8. And now it's Brown that goes out in a slot to the top of your screen. Frazier under a blitz. Overthrows his intended receiver. Trumaine Bell with a penalty marker down. Offside call on Colorado. That's a gift for the Nebraska offense.
Colorado puts the pressure from the outside with their great outside backers.
Repeat 3rd down.
So instead of 3rd and 8, 3rd and 3 coming up. There's the numbers, the winningest percentage of any active college football coach, Tom Osborne. And so many 9-win seasons or better in a row. It's phenomenal.
And here's where Tommy Frazier's so valuable, being able to run the option. He's 4.5 speed.
Hawkins, the wingback in that full house backfield. There is the option. Frazier has a 1st down. Now the defense of Colorado will really have to come to play, as it's 1st and goal, Cornhuskers. And that defense for Colorado with Leonard Renfro, an all Big 8 performer, joining a true freshman Cobell and Elder up front. Linebackers, a great core. Woolford, Beeker leading the team in tackles, Johnson and Brown. And in the secondary, Deion Figures, one of the better cover men in all of college football, with Davis, Hudson, and Bradford. 1st and goal, Nebraska at the Colorado 3-yard line. Trying to take advantage of the turnover, and they do. Touchdown, Calvin Jones. oranges are flowing into the end zone.
This is just power football, Nebraska football. They're going to run it right off their All-American candidate, Will Shields, number 75, their guard. And you can see that line just push Colorado into the end zone. 19 goal plays for Colorado's defense. They've only given up 2 touchdowns. They've made it on first down. That's power for Nebraska.
Byron Bennett in for the point after. Remember, that short drive actually started as a Travis Hill interception. And Nebraska about to make it pay off for 7 points. 13:46 remaining first quarter. Colorado will get it back when we come back, trailing by 7. ESPN's presentation of CFA college football is brought to you by Jeep. There's only one Jeep. And by Thrifty Car Rental. For worldwide reservations, call 1-800-4CARS. 7-0 Cornhuskers. Tom Osborne wanted a home field advantage that was worth something. He got it early. They're only a minute and 14 seconds into the game and up by 7. Bennett's kick to Cunningham again, who had trouble with the first one and has trouble with this one. So Coy Detmer, whose first pass was intercepted, set to head back out and will work from the 20-yard line. There's Cordell Stewart, number 10. He's taking a look at the play that was called and sent in.
It's got to be tough on Cordell Stewart, but don't be surprised if he plays. He hasn't had much practice time. That was the main reason I assume that this switch was made, because Coy Detmer had all the practice time this week.
Crowd is deafening already. Lamont Warren dropped for a 4-yard loss by John Perella. Let's try to give you that Colorado offense again as we take a look at the McDonald's starting lineup. We only had one play to try to do it last time. Detmer, the freshman out of Mission, Texas, with Warren, who was just dropped for the loss. Michael Westbrook, one of the top receivers in all of college football. So is Charles Johnson, for that matter. Fourier, the tight end. Cunningham, the flanker. And up front, Jim Hansen, an all-Big 8 performer with Ivy, Stoltenberg, Moore, and Derek West. Second and long. Detmer has that one go in and out of the hands of Westbrook. And now it'll be third down and about 15.
If you'd ask me what are the toughest conditions to catch and throw a football, I'd have to say this is the type of day. A cold rain where the ball has a little glaze on it, especially early in the game. I think the guys, as they go along, both teams will become more comfortable with the weather.
That gives you the idea of what it's like here in Lincoln, Nebraska this afternoon. The eyes of Coy Detmer might give you an idea what 3rd and 14's like. And he's got the first down. Charles Johnson hauls that one in.
His timing is so magnificent, getting rid of that ball. This ball was thrown about a second before the receiver even broke in. That's timing that just is inherent when running a passing game since you were in 9th grade. His brother did it. Watch when this ball is released. The receiver has just turned around and he's halfway there. That's good coverage, and they made the completion.
Wilhite right there, but a pickup of 15 on that 3rd and 14. First down, Buffalo. Blitz, Detmer, and he overshot Lamont Warren. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Guys, talking about the weather, some of the players in Colorado were saying it reminded them a little bit of their trip to Columbia, Missouri back on October 8th. Remember what happened that night? They did not score a single touchdown. The only time this year they've been shut out of the end zone. They scored 6 points only for a 6-0 win.
It does have that kind of look. We had that game for you here at ESPN. It was a nasty night, but a win nonetheless for Colorado. They've got a 4-wide receiver group on 2nd and 10. Detmer will go down. And the ball is loose.
I think he took it right away from him.
Perella's got it for Nebraska.
We've got a little bit of a conference going here. When people start talking, you never know which way it's going to turn around. Coy Detmer's going to drop back. Perella's going to be the man coming inside. That's what Bill McCartney told us worried him the most. Matchups up front on that offensive line. And you can see that ball comes clean, and that should have been a fumble.
It's out of there before he hits the turf. Perella would have had the fumble recovery.
There's only one thing that could have been called is forward progress, but I think that was a little early. I think that was a fumble. It should be Nebraska's ball.
3rd and 20, Colorado. The swing pass out. And what a job defensively by White, who made the hit. David White. It'll be 4th down, Buffalo. Mitch Berger to punt. 4th in the country with that 46.6 average. Corey Dixon and Tyrone Hughes back deep. Nebraska with the other 9 men on the line of scrimmage. And here comes the pressure, and they almost got to the kick. Dixon from the 18. Out to the 34-yard line. 16-yard punt return with 11:37 to go, first quarter. Nebraska by 7.
You can see right here, Nebraska has overloaded right here. 5 people coming from the outside. He comes free, Baron Miles, and he almost gets that ball.
A nice return has Nebraska setting up offensively at its own 34-yard line. Up 7. And only back to the line of scrimmage goes Derek Brown. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
You talk about a shocker. South Carolina yields the touchdown, and on a 2-point conversion, Schuler hits James Littleman Stewart. They stop him. Georgia could clinch the SEC Eastern Division crown if they win the cocktail party in Jacksonville against Florida. What a win for Sparky Woods.
Wow, they should have given it. The players should have given that vote of confidence at the beginning of the year, right?
Just take a week or a day off and you play.
2nd and 10 for Nebraska. Now the option. Frazier keeps it out to the 38-yard line. Greg Beaker in on the tackle, and we'll call his name and number a lot this afternoon. Semi-finalist for the Butkus Award, number 19. There he is.
Ted Johnson's the inside backer, just a true sophomore playing, but you can see Nebraska's got him labeled. They got 2, maybe 3 guys. That was Scott, who evidently pancaked him at the end of that play.
Wow. 3rd and 6. First 3rd down. Second 3rd down situation of the game for Nebraska, and no. Tremaine Bell says he had it. The officials say he trapped it, and Nebraska will have to kick.
If you've watched Nebraska football, you've seen that play maybe 500 times. The quarterback sprints out, both backs kick out the linebacker, and it's an out by the outside receiver, and the slot back runs a little hook, and you have to throw that ball on the run. Mike Stiggy into punt.
2 excellent punters. He's 2nd in the country in net average. And Deion Figures back deep. Figures had 164 yards in returns last week to set a Colorado single game record. He lets this one go, and maybe he shouldn't have. David Saez downs it at the 2-foot line. A 61-yard Stiggy punt. The 2 officials had a little chat about that one before they decided to spot it down inside the 1-yard line.
Yeah, that was very close. Remember, in the college game, you don't have to control. You have to control the ball, but you can slide in the end zone. It's the ball, not your feet.
Good point, Garrett. Detmer. He got a 1.5 yards out. Let's take another look at that punt.
You can see the ball right here. It stops beautifully for Nebraska right here. I think it would have died right, but the sliding player gains control, sets it down right there at the 6-inch line. Now, had that been the pro game, that ball and momentum would have carried forward and would have been first down at the 20.
2nd and 8. And something Colorado hasn't done well all season long is run the ball, and that's what they're, of course, trying to do to get a little breathing room here.
Want to play remaining back for Colorado? This is what it feels like. You're the remaining running back. Go up there, pick out your hole. There isn't any hole.
And run into John Perella again.
John Perella was signed in Colorado, offered a scholarship, and then taken away. He came to Nebraska, and he's haunting them so far.
Boy, is he ever. Detmer on third down. Deep for Westbrook, and he made the catch.
Some people just have a feel for throwing a football, something you just can't teach. Coy Detmer right here on this play is going to roll out. He feels pressure from his backside, but he sees Westbrook. Watch him lay this ball up. He couldn't throw it on the line because Westbrook wasn't open, and watch how beautifully it's thrown, and Westbrook acrobatically makes the catch.
And a first down at the 33-yard line. 29-yard pass play. Detmer on what appears to be a broken play, and he improvises his way out near another first down. That's a nifty run for a kid 165 pounds.
And the way the Colorado rushing game is going so far, they need whatever yards they can.
We're talking about the pass of Coy Detmer earlier and the fact that Cordell Stewart's got such a big gun of an arm. And Bill McCartney says, hey, you know, one guy hits a golf ball 180 yards with an 8-iron. Everybody goes ooh and ah. And he says, and then somebody else pulls out a 5-iron, the same shot. What's the difference?
It's how many. It's not how you get it there.
Second and a yard. But that yard's going the wrong direction. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. A flag flies in late. Trev Alberts made the tackle. It's a holding call against the Buffaloes.
That's Charlie McBride right there, defensive coordinator for Nebraska. And one of the things that we saw yesterday before this game was the Nebraska linemen and linebackers taping down their jerseys. They said Colorado does a lot of holding. They taped them down. They said if they're going to hold, they better be good at it because we're going to wear the tight shirts.
They didn't do a good enough job there. We're caught at it, and the penalty backs it up to the 30-yard line.
Second down, 12. The ball is
there you see it. You can see they've got double-sided tape to keep those shirts very tight. I've seen it for offensive linemen, but not very often on defense.
Coach Moore had that with Michigan today, didn't he? The tight shirt. Detmer, deep ball again, and that one skips off the hands of his intended receiver, Charlie Johnson.
intended for 9.
And that one floated just a little bit on Coy Detmer, it looked like.
A little bit high. The game of this game when you're throwing the football is protection up front. This is a young offensive line. They've had to change from running a wishbone type offense last year to a passing offense this year. They've done a good job at the pass protection. Some of the guys said it's easier. You see the ball just sails a little bit on Coy Detmer this time. Had his man, but it would have been a lower throw.
Third and 12. Westbrook got a little bit tangled up in the secondary with Steve Carmer, and it's incomplete. And Mitch Berger, whose first kick went 52 yards, set to kick it away again.
Same alignment. Oh, excuse me, Brad. Same alignment for Nebraska on this rush.
They almost got the last one. Baron Miles was the guy that got close before. Berger will back up Dixon to the 21-yard line. And here comes Dixon again. May have been a saving tackle made by Scott Phillips. Still Nebraska by 7 with 7:51 to go in the first. Well, it's been kind of a spooky start for Colorado as Nebraska's out in front by a touchdown.
You know, with the validity of the polls right now, that could really turn everything into upside down.
Chris is running a close fourth, we understand. Nebraska from its own 40. Through the middle in a hurry for 6 is Derek Brown as we go in a hurry to Tim Brando.
Speaking of being in a hurry, Napoleon Kaufman's always seemingly in a hurry, particularly on punt returns like this one. Stanford was leading 7-0. He set sail 64 yards. That would set up a Brunel to Leif Johnson touchdown pass. It is now a 14-7 game. Brunel scored from a yard out.
Guess I didn't call that click, did it? 7-0 Nebraska. With a second down and 3. Short of the first down, Derek Brown
Colorado's defense coming and returning into this year was the strength of this team. And you're looking at Ted Johnson right there. Their outside backers and their group of backers was named as maybe the best unit in college football. But they need to stop the run inside with the nose tackle. That's the question mark.
3rd down and 2. The toss. Brown trying to get wide, and he won't get there. And that is a great job defensively again by Ted Johnson. The sophomore out of Carlsbad, California, makes the play.
Linebackers run, and the inside backers for Colorado run as good as anyone. There you see Johnson. You're going to see Beckett come in also. They just make the play. Ted Johnson, a true sophomore, played a lot as a freshman, makes the play and stops him short of the 1st down.
So Stiggy, who dropped his last punt, thanks to the help of his punting team down at the 1-yard line, set to kick again. Dion Figures. There's what he did last week, and that broke a Colorado record. They went all the way back to the 1930s. Stiggy line drives this one. Fair catch called for. This one makes the end zone. Touchback. Colorado will work from its own 20-yard line. That time a 52-yard Stiggy punt. Colorado has only given up 7. Detmer started with the first pass of the ball game being intercepted. That led to that Cornhusker touchdown.
In the 3rd quarter,
Ted Johnson, who made back-to-back tackles on that last series. Now let's see what the Colorado offense can come up with. They have been unable to run the ball at all so far. Play action. Detmer high again. That one almost intercepted after the ricochet in the secondary. Steve Carmer actually had the closest play on the ball.
Every pass that Coy Detmer has missed, and even the interception, has been a high throw. That's because he's getting pressure and quick pressure, both from the outside and up the middle from Perella, and in the outside, Trev Alberts has given him some pressure. So he needs to be able to have room to set up and lower his trigger.
Those 5 interceptions against Oklahoma, part of a 7-turnover day for Colorado, and that's really been part of their problem this year. Incomplete that time, and again pressure from Travis Hill, number 93.
You're going to see again, it's Detmer drops back in the pocket. He just doesn't feel comfortable with the timing of these passes. This is only going to be a 5-step drop, but you're going to see Alberts come from the outside. Just as he's letting that ball go, he sees a red shirt right in his face, and he's been throwing high.
3 out of 10 for 53 yards for the freshman, Coy Detmer. And no doubt his 11th throw upcoming unless we see a draw play. Trying to set up the screen, and Detmer face down way back in the end zone. Keneally and Alberts.
That's exactly what it was. It was a screen, but Lamont Warren, number 12, just didn't turn around. I'm not sure if he knew it was a screen or not. He thought he's doing a good job blocking, and the other 10 guys are running a screen here.
Out comes Mitch Berger. Another nice kick. Corey Dixon backpedals to the 25. And this time Colorado's got him hemmed in. And for his 3rd stop today, Tosic made that hit. Most comprehensive pregame show on TV coming up tomorrow. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Joe Theismann tell you all you need to know and get ready for a football Sunday. And then at 7 tomorrow night, prime time comes back to give you all the highlights and scores and everything from the day in the NFL. Speaking of the NFL, just a week from tomorrow, ESPN has the Bengals and the Bears set to do battle. 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's a week from tomorrow night. Here it's 7-0. Nebraska with 5:19 to go, first quarter. Frazier had it knocked down by Dwayne Davis, a strong safety. Fans wanted an interference call in the secondary and don't get it.
What a play he made, too. Davis closed on that ball, showed his 4.5 speed going after it. It was a bootleg type action, but he was maybe 5 yards away from that throw, but just closed with his speed.
Dwayne Davis redshirted a year ago.
Yeah, you're going to see the action. The guard is going to pull one way. Now comes Frazier. Just as he rips this ball in here, he's got pressure up the middle.
Forces a 2nd and 10, Nebraska. They go with a quick draw. Brown hit in the backfield by Beekert. And then Beekert got help from his friends.
Beekert is 2nd all-time in tackles for Colorado, and you can see why. He just reads so quickly that guard play in front of him. That's the guy he's looking at. If that guard comes at him, he sidesteps him sometimes and gets into the backfield. Just does a magnificent job.
32 straight starts at that linebacker spot for Colorado. 3rd and 11, Nebraska. This is the longest 3rd down situation they've had today. Tommy Frazier, straight drop. Incomplete. Tyrone Hughes appeared to slip. Frazier wants an interference call, and it's 3 and out, Nebraska.
This is the type of field when you play bump and run, you worry. Bradford this time has got him man-to-man. A perfect throw would have had him, but I think he just slips and falls down. Bump and run, you know you got pressure coming. Linebackers are coming, inside pressure, but plenty of time to throw that pass. It just looked like he slipped coming out of the route.
3rd straight 3 and out for Nebraska. But Stiggy has helped him with some great punts so far. Figures can draw a beat on this one from the 28-yard line. And a penalty marker comes in at the end of the play. Flags all over. Would normally think illegal block on Colorado. John Laurie, our referee, will straighten it all out for us momentarily. With 4:21 left first quarter, that is the call. Every time Colorado tries to get decent field position, something takes them in the other direction. We'll go in the direction of Tim Brando right now. Timmy?
I'm going to take you down to the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, Brad. It's Shane Matthews looking for some measure of respect for what has been a down year to Jack Jackson, the strike. It's 16-7. They missed the point after. Still plenty of time in Jacksonville.
First down and 10. The ball is on the 27-yard line.
Nebraska in front. Colorado's got it back. On a first down, it's Detmer, and that one almost intercepted again. Carmer diving attempts, couldn't quite come up with it.
Now you wonder why would someone make a throw like that? It looked like all there were red jerseys. What happened was Detmer was fooled on that play. They're running option routes. The receiver and the quarterback have to read the right thing at the same time. You see the receiver turned in. Detmer thought he was going to turn out, and you see it looked like that ball bounced off the turf. Good call.
Leading tackler for Nebraska is Carmer. Almost missing the handoff to Warren, and he's ridden out as he crossed the 30-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
Brad, you know what these games usually come down to is a team that passes the ball. It's how well they run it in a big game like this. And a team like Nebraska who runs the ball well, how good are they going to be today at throwing the ball? So far, neither team has been able to do their offhand very well. Colorado hasn't been able to run. Nebraska hasn't been able to throw.
Third down at 6, Buffalo. They're coming after Detmer. Intended for Westbrook. Detmer leveled again, and he's looking at his receiver as if to say, you got to turn quicker.
Nebraska overloaded their blitz this time. Man-to-man. Remember, the quarterback can't block anyone. They're going to send in more men than Colorado can pick it up, and that freshman just getting a taste of what it's like to play big-time football. They just brought in 6 people that time. Colorado only had 5 blockers with nobody in the backfield.
Mitch Berger to punt. Tyrone Hughes back at his own 20-yard line. And now they're going to bring 10 people after the Colorado punter. Hope they back off that. Hughes takes it on the run at the 32 and got 5 or 6 out of the return. Again, good field position for Nebraska offensively.
I talked to Tom Osborne yesterday about his team, the state of his team, and he says, you know, we're not throwing as good as we had in the past. We have a solid offensive line, a great running team, but look what kind of record this man has had. That second stat, 23 straight years of winning 9 games or more. That's unbelievable. That's the most amazing stat I've heard for a college program.
That fits right in there with North Carolina's basketball team on 20-win seasons or more. They've got one going very similar. That is remarkable. Brown, he's quick. To the 44-yard line. They got about 7 in a hurry. Greg Biekert again helped down on the tackle.
You know, they call them the wee backs. Derek Brown and Calvin Jones. They both are, you know, could start for most any team in college football right now. About a week, 2 weeks ago, they both said, hey, choose a guy. You know, we both want to play full time until we get tired. Then they thought about it again. Might be not the guy who couldn't play.
That's right. You didn't want to be the odd man out of that deal. Second down and 3. With 3:20 left first quarter, Frazier on the option. And he's got the first down and then some.
You're going to see the option. The fullback comes in here when Frazier makes the fake. His 4.5 speed really makes it to the outside. But watch one other thing. Corey Dixon's going to come in from the right side. Great block on the free safety right there. That's what really makes the plays go. Nebraska's receivers block as good as anybody I've seen in college football.
And a 1st and 10 for Nebraska. Brown again. And he goes inside the 35 to the 34-yard line. The bottom of that pile.
By 34,
Chad Brown, the linebacker, number 34. Another one that was originally up for the Butkus Award at the beginning of the season. Had it not been for a series of injuries, he might still be on that list.
2 years ago, he played inside linebacker when they still had Williams and McGee. Now they moved him to the outside in '91, and this year he's really coming on as a pass rusher.
2nd and 7. Just inside the Colorado 35-yard line. Nebraska by 7-0 margin, and on the option, Frazier again. All the way to the 21. The kids around campus are already starting to call him Smoke and Tommy Frazier.
Call it speed. Yes, he's a true freshman, but he played in a big high school program. He is not going to be intimidated by this type of a game. He's played 13 and 15 games a year. He runs option football, 4.5 speed. And remember, Colorado was looking at this man. He was their #1 quarterback recruit until they decided to go with Coy Detman.
Marcellus Elder being helped off the field, injured. He was shaken up earlier and came out, and then came back into the Colorado defensive front. Now they're helping him off again. Frazier has runs of 19 and 12 yards on this drive. And Marcellus looking at somebody who he wants to get back at if he can get back on the field. It'll be 1st and 10, Nebraska at the Colorado 22. Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, and it's been all Nebraska for homecoming so far, especially on the ground. Brown and Jones in that backfield, but Frazier wants to throw. He may take off on his own again. The Buffalo's defense makes him pay for it at the 23-yard line. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
Steve Stenstrom has now been injured and has left the game. Mark Butterfield, but prior to leaving the game, he threw this pick to James Clifford, who returned it for a touchdown. 21-7 now. The Huskies taking control.
The Huskies by 14. The Huskers by 7. 1:23 left. Clock winding down first quarter. Colorado's had a tough time with field position today. They've already seen Nebraska pick off Detmer's opening pass. And now Nebraska down nearing that Colorado red zone again. Nice play fake by Frazier. And over the middle, incomplete, intended for Gerard Armstrong, the tight end. And he take it down to Jerry Punch. Doc?
Well, Marcellus Eldridge came off the field earlier. You said up there, Brad, he had a sprained right ankle. They taped the ankle. He went back into play, and now he is trying to run. You watch him on the sidelines. That is trainer David Burton, who was walking along, talking to him. Eldridge, the senior from California, they desperately need him in that defensive line. Back upstairs.
They need about a box of tape to tape those ankles. 300-pounder out of Long Beach, California. Third down at 12, Nebraska. Frazier had a man open that time and overthrew him. All three of his receivers here to the top of your screen. On the option, he got past Beekert. But he didn't get past Ronnie Bradford out there on the corner, and he made the tackle. It'll bring up fourth down. Fans want Tom Osborne to go for this, and what they'll see is the field goal unit.
Tom Osborne's been around too long to give up 3 points at this portion of the game right now. 10-0 looks awful big.
He didn't win 191 games making decisions like this in the first quarter.
Well, you just marvel at Frazier's speed on that option. Beekert had him labeled, and the angle just wasn't there for him to catch him. He turned in a positive play on it.
Byron Bennett, there's what he's done this year. Mike Stiggy, the punter, to hold. This is a 32-yard field goal attempt to try to put Nebraska in front, but it's a fake.
It's going to be an incomplete pass, even though it looked like a fumble. A shovel pass from the outside wing. I think it was Corey Schlesinger, the number 2 fullback, who came across.
Pretty well designed, but it hit the turf first.
Yeah, there's where you go. The wet ball. He put it right there. It was a perfect throw.
No, it didn't hit the turf first. It hit his hands first. Right. So Colorado maybe gets a break there. They didn't have it defensed that well, but Schlesinger didn't hold on, and now the Buffaloes take over at their own 15-yard line. Well, the fans got what they wanted. They didn't get the result they wanted, did they? They are a loud group here on Halloween in Lincoln. Detmer will keep this one. And a tough, hard-earned 4 yards before Ed Stewart, the weak side linebacker, made the tackle. And that'll bring quarter number 1 to a close. The Nebraska Cornhuskers by 7 after the first 15 minutes. Amazingly enough, that group dresses the same way when it's not Halloween. To start the second quarter, Colorado trying desperately to run the football, and Lamont Warren got it out near the 22-yard line where Trev Albert made the tackle. There's what Nebraska has done in the first quarter this season. A 7-0 margin after 15 minutes in this one, and 72-2 in first quarters this year. And that 2 was a safety given up in their loss to Washington. Third down and 3. Detmer with a little option, and that only option for Warren is to go down way back at the 15-yard line. Ed Stewart and Trev Alberts again.
The difference in this football game so far has been Nebraska's speed on defense. They've gone to their dime package. Ed Stewart right there is a linebacker, but he's 6 foot 205. He was a backup defensive back last year, so they really have 6 defensive backs on the field, and they seem to be overwhelming Colorado with their speed right now.
Mitch Berger's been a busy punter. 10 men up for Nebraska again. Tyrone Hughes at the 42. Hughes got outside. About 11 on the return, and Nebraska will be in Colorado territory to start their offensive series. Let's go to Tim Brando.
Brad, Steve Spurrier's mastery over the Dogs in Jacksonville seemingly is going to continue. Shane Matthews this time to Willie Jackson. It's 23-7 Gators. Garrison Hurst not out of the gates as yet.
Maybe the Gators aren't out of that side of the SEC either, with that kind of lead, and Tennessee having lost earlier to South Carolina. Here in the Big 8, 7-0 Nebraska at the Buffalo 47-yard line. Calvin Jones, he's going to go. Touchdown. Healthy competition. 47 yards. Touchdown, Nebraska.
You put in your backup and he runs his first play for 47 yards, but this is just not your ordinary backup. This is a man who can really run, the fastest player on the team in a 100-yard dash. Tom Osborne told us, and you could see it right there when he get in the secondary.
He only had to go half that far that time. And again, the Oranges flying down in the end zone will temporarily halt the extra point attempt. Jones' first rush, a 3-yard touchdown. His second rush, a 47-yard touchdown. That 2 for 50 and 2 will look pretty good in the stats. Byron Bennett in to attempt the point after.
It's not like he hasn't done it before. He averaged 8.3 yards as a freshman last year.
Bennett, he got it up and through. Colorado may be lucky they're a passing team because they find themselves in a 2-touchdown hole early in the second quarter.
Want to break a rule?
Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, and Dr. Jerry Punch in Lincoln, Nebraska, where the Cornhuskers lead by 2 touchdowns with 13:26 remaining in the first half. Byron Bennett to kick. So far, T.J. Cunningham back deep has had a hard time holding on to the football on kick returns. He's got this one at the 5-yard line and then lost the handle. Dwayne Harris on special teams made the stop. Penalty marker down as we take another look at the touchdown here.
Brad, this is counter trey. Inside, they're coming this way, step for a touchdown. But the key is the blocking by the wide receiver, Muhammad, and the tight end is going to get both of the safeties from Colorado. That's what makes the play go. First, the wide receiver with the block, and then downfield, Gerald Armstrong frees him, and Jones is gone. And the only thing he really does wrong right here is right about at the goal line, he's going to drop the ball. And I'm not sure how close. He was so in a hurry to get his helmet off. One more look from this angle. You're going to see that ball goes out really before he crosses the goal line. But we did get to see his face, which is good, you know.
And now we find out about the penalty. Or lack of penalty. One call at the 11-yard line. First down. Colorado trailing by 2 touchdowns with a 3-wide receiver group to the right of Detmer. And he almost had it intercepted. Again, Carmer came flying in there from the secondary on a pass intended for Mitchell. Well, Detmer better keep his eye on number 31. Carmer's had his hands on those passes about 3 times today. And Coy Detmer has missed 8 straight passes. Second and 10, Buffalo. For Westbrook, that one is intercepted by Carmer.
Carmer is just sitting back as a free safety this time, reading Detmer's eyes. Detmer's going to look right the whole time, and that's what brings the free safety to the side to make the play. He thinks he has Westbrook man-on-man, but he forgot about the free safety in the middle of the field. You can see it. He's just laying it up. He thinks he's got his best player one-on-one, but he forgot to get that free safety out of the way.
Second interception of the year for Carmer. And right back to the ground game go the Cornhuskers as Lance Lewis, the fullback, takes it straight ahead for a couple.
will Bill McCartney make a change? The thing I question here is how healthy is Cordell Stewart? If he's healthy enough, and if he does make a change, it'll be at halftime, similar to the way he did against Iowa when he brought Detmer off the bench.
Second down and 8. Nebraska already up by 2 touchdowns with 12:30 to go, second quarter. Now the option, Frazier to Jones. Finally, Jones touches it without going to the end zone as we go down to Jerry Punch. Jerry.
Guys, the news doesn't get much better for the Colorado Buffaloes. Starting freshman flanker T.J. Cunningham also tries to return kickoff, sprained left knee, a mild sprain of the medial collateral ligament. That's the inside of the left knee. They're going to tape him up, see if he can go. They need him desperately. They think he can go back in the ballgame, but right now he's hobbled with that left knee. Back upstairs.
You got a mouthful there, Jerry. Tries to return kickoffs. His ego might be a little bit sprained right now, too. Everything going well for Nebraska. Third down at 4. Jones has got the first down to the 22-yard line. Dion Figures made the tackle. Jones well on his way to a 100-yard day.
You know, Jones is going to gain yards if this offensive line is still going to be able to all day get in the face of these inside backers, Beekert and Johnson, and just push back. One of the things that we marveled at by watching the offensive line for Nebraska in film is how they just keep blocking until the whistle blows. That's what you try to teach your linemen, not to just make a block and turn around and look, but keep blocking until you hear the whistle, and they really do it.
58 yards on 4 carries for Jones behind that front wall of the Cornhuskers, and a first down at the 22. Here he is again to the 19. Jones splashed on the scene last year with a 294-yard, 6-touchdown day against Kansas. And if it weren't for Marshall Faulk's 386 yards as a freshman against Pacific last year, that would have been about the best you can do as a first-year guy.
And the key thing is that they're keeping both of them fresh. I mean, they're very similar in their styles. Jones may be a little stronger and Brown a little more of the moves, but both of them are fresh the whole game.
Remember, Brown played the majority of the first quarter. This time Jones is wrapped up by Beekert, and Beekert has the ball too, but they're going to whistle that one dead.
One of the big question marks you have when you go to a passing offense like Colorado has this year is how you will hold up against a running offense when you play them, because in spring practice and in practice every day you just get passing and passing and passing, and you don't see this type of a power game. And then when you get in the game, it's a little different tempo, and right now it looks like Nebraska's taking advantage of that.
Rushing yards for Nebraska, 134. And last year in the entire game, Colorado held the Cornhuskers to 112. Third down, a long 5. Frazier on the options, got the corner. He is close. He's in. There's a flag down. Penalty marker down.
You just have to wonder about that, because Frazier's going to score, but the wide receiver's down there holding to make sure he does. No doubt about it. He was holding right at the end of the play, and that's going to run it back.
There's the call Gary's talking about. And that negates smoking Tommy Frazier's would-be touchdown run. Kid doesn't look like he's running that fast, but he just runs by everybody.
We did the Florida State game and watched Charlie Ward run like this against Georgia Tech, but I think Frazier's quicker right now. He just turns it up, and as an option quarterback, he's just invaluable because he's got a rocket arm also. You're going to see it on the left side of your screen. The wide receiver grab him. I think it's Bell, number 80, that grabs Dion Figures. And that's, well, actually, it was Ronnie Bradford that he grabbed to get in for the touchdown, and that was a clear call.
Put Bradford's right arm.
It's going to be from the point of the foul, though. It's going to make it 3rd and short still. No, you can't talk your way out of that one. We saw it. We have it on TV. It's going to be on home videos, too.
Bell wearing that number 80. Trying to emulate Jerry Rice, he says. Jerry can get caught holding once in a while, too. Now back to Derek Brown time. And Brown takes it near the 10. That's a first down.
I really think the story of this football game so far has been field position. But the reason for the poor field position is that Colorado has not been able to run the ball, and Nebraska has. They continue to run it. This is power game. You watch Nebraska for the last 20 years. They've been able to run this isolation play with 2 backs, and they're having great success so far in this football game.
That number 21 looks like another 21 that played a few years ago. And Roger Craig high-stepping it for a first down. And there is that field position that Gary was talking about. It's been horrible for Colorado, good for Nebraska. And a first down at the 10-yard line, and another penalty marker down, and that stops the clock. 9:56 remaining first half. 14-0 Cornhuskers, and another holding call against Nebraska. With a penalty being walked off, we're going to walk it back to Tim Brando. Tim?
Georgia's offense finally coming alive. Hastings has used no more than a decoy here as a safety valve. Zaire looks him off and then finds Hassan Graham. 13-yard strike, 23-14 at the cocktail party.
Under 10 minutes here. Nebraska out in front, 2 touchdowns. 1st and 19 coming up after the holding call. That's the line of scrimmage to the 19-yard line. Colorado with a blitz. And the inside handoff to Derek Brown. Chad Brown made the tackle at the 17-yard line.
You know, kind of interesting right there. Our shot on television had a pretty tight shot of that offense, but you really had Colorado's whole defense in the picture because there was no one. None of their defensive backs were more than 5 yards deep. To stop that running game, they have moved their defensive backs up considerably. And what you're going to see pretty soon is another play-action type pass to get them deep.
Which will put pressure on the cornerbacks for Bill McCartney's defense if those safeties keep edging their way up there to try to help against the run. 2 tight ends set again for Nebraska on 2nd and 17. There's the play action. There comes the pass. Overshot and a penalty marker in the end zone. Deion Figures was out there with Tyrone Hughes.
And that's really the problem, Brad, of playing bump and run pass coverage on a play action type pass. If you're going to put people in, you better get to the quarterback quickly because it seems like an eternity to be covering someone in a bump and run when he runs from his own 18-yard line into the end zone. Doesn't seem like a long time when you're watching it, but try covering a guy that runs 4 or 5. Looked to me like a slip, but I'm not sure if we caught the whole play right there at the beginning of it when he grabbed him.
And Figures is one of the better cover men you'll find, but remember, we're on a wet surface.
You see in the top part of your screen right there, he's got him a long time, a little bit of a fake, but I think he grabs his jersey a little bit, and it's too bad because I think that ball would have been thrown out of bounds and uncatchable.
At the 2-yard line.
You know, you can really see the game evolve from up here. You just saw those safeties coming up, and you just knew that Nebraska was going to go to a play-action pass and test them to see if they were there.
Calvin Jones has already scored the 2 Nebraska touchdowns. 1st and goal at the 2. Calvin Jones close to the goal line. It'll be 2nd down. Ted Johnson and Deion Figures and a host of others for the Buffaloes make the hit.
It's been an offensive line game for Nebraska so far. They've been pushing around the Colorado defense and giving room for these big Nebraska backs to hit it up in there. That's a lot of yards when you started out 1st and goal.
2nd and goal with 8:10 left first half. Frazier himself didn't get there. Went airborne and was met by Ted Johnson. Well, a goal line stand would be exactly what Colorado needs here.
Tough to run a quarterback sneak, I think, from this type of position and jump up because those 2 linebackers are going to time it out so well. Beekert and Johnson just get them. I'd rather give it to that tailback and let him jump over. I don't know, maybe that's just a passer.
3rd and goal, Nebraska. Jones goes down too. Ron Woolfolk with his first big play of the day. He's a big play guy, and he showed it on a 3rd and goal.
Yeah, 6'4", 235 outside linebacker is just going to come around practically untouched from the outside, slashes in. You got to believe that the tight end should have blocked down that time. He blocked out on the defensive back, and that's a busted assignment by the tight end there, William Washington.
Byron Bennett in the kicking unit coming on for Nebraska. You heard a few spattering of boos again. Remember, the other field goal attempt was a fake. And this one's going to be basically an extra point attempt for Bennett. Trying to add to a 14-0 lead. And do we have a penalty down? Penalty marker down? Or possibly a clock problem. We'll find out in just a moment. One of the two.
I think you got to send him back.
It's a delay game here, and they're going to send him back. Colorado accepts, takes him out, and now it's no longer an extra point attempt, if you will, but rather a field goal of close to 24 yards.
Nebraska really had a busted assignment on that play for a touchdown, and that, you wonder, you know, when you get down to the goal line, how you can make a mistake like that.
Byron Bennett from 24 yards out, and he's got it right through the middle. 6 minutes and 31 seconds till halftime. The Colorado Buffaloes in a little bit of trouble here in Lincoln.
We've had Oblaze for 16 years. I mean, this old.
ESPN's presentation of CFA College football is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And by AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. 6:31 our time left. First half, 17-0 Cornhuskers. Bennett to kick, a new man back deep. Eric Mitchell in there now with Cunningham out with the injury. And it's Mitchell from the 4. And still, they have a hard time getting out to the 20-yard line. The Colorado offense, again, has to work inside its own 20. Time right now for our ESPN student of the game. Jim Scott, the center, a senior from Ansley, Nebraska, business administration major. He'll graduate in December with a 3.2+. He's a academic all-Big 8 honor roll member. And there he is. And he's a good one, too. Our congratulations to him. From the 19-yard line, Colorado down by 17 points. Detmer got it out to the 31 of the first down. Eric Mitchell.
You can see Colorado's going to go to a no-huddle offense. They had no backs that time. They haven't been able to run the ball. They might as well put in 5 receivers. They got a tight end and 4 receivers on the field right now.
Detmer's been banged around and intercepted, but he hasn't lost his poise. For a kid 19, that's not bad. They're coming after him again. And he got this one completed across the 35. Ray Caruth, another freshman, made the catch. Mike Anderson, another stop.
I'll tell you, Colorado has just not been able to handle Trev Alberts, number 34. He led the team a year ago in sacks, and he is putting pressure over the left side, the blind side to Detmer.
Derek West, the left tackle over there. He's got his hands full. Again, they throw that little screen, if you will, intended for Ray Caruth. This one's incomplete. It would have been a first down, I think.
Perella's down there complaining about being held again. I think that was part of the game plan, is start early complaining about holding. It's like a guy guarding you basketball. You start working the officials early, you're going to get a call.
If you're going to hold Perella, you better have big hands. 3rd and 5. Boy, Detmer's numbers not impressive. Penalty marker down. Detmer went down. There's a marker in the secondary and one in the backfield.
Yeah, you're going to get both this time. You're going to get pass interference and roughing the passer tacked on top of it that time. I don't think you're going to ruffle Coy Detmer. He's got a lot of his brother in him, and the more you try to hit him, the more he gets into the game. I really believe it. He's got the makeup and moxie of a quarterback, and he was born with it.
You remember Ty Detmer's games where one shoulder would go separated and then another one and then a cut on the chin, and he just kept getting back up.
We talked to Bill McCartney about that yesterday. And
pass interference, which will be a spot foul. Personal foul, roughing the passer, is the penalty that will be accepted. 15 yards and a first down.
He talked with us about the Oklahoma game and the fact that the Sooners really just try to take Detmer's head off in that one.
Well, really, when you start a young quarterback, that's what you try to do, a passing quarterback. You figure you can intimidate him, especially a guy that only weighs 165 pounds. But I don't think he heard of that word before. He just needs more protection from the outside. His two tackles are just not handling the stunts, and the pressure is coming from the two outside backers, Kill and Alberts. Nebraska really only has 2 down linemen in the game. They're going with a dime package.
Colorado with the ball just shaded on the Nebraska side of midfield. Detmer in trouble again. Connealy is there, and so is Alberts again.
Nebraska's base defense is a 5-2. They're really now in a 2-3 defense. You see Hill, number 93, and Alberts is going to clean up. The pressure is coming from the outside. The quickness of the linebackers on the tackles.
Second down and 13. Detmer delivers this one to Westbrooks. Westbrook's got it. Still not a first down, but he got it to the 43-yard line. And that's, well, this entire drive, once they cross midfield, is the deepest penetration they've had against Nebraska today.
You really have to marvel at his timing, though. Again, that ball was halfway there before Westbrook turned around. It was decent coverage in the secondary.
Here's a more manageable 3rd and 5 after that pass completion. And they've got the first down. He zips that one out to the 34, Ray Caruth, the freshman from Sacramento, California, made the catch and tiptoed out of bounds with 4:41 left in the half.
Nebraska's defense is playing off and laying off, and I think that's playing right into Colorado's hands. They can't protect very well, so they have to throw early, and the hitches are going to start to add up.
First down, Buffalo is at the Cornhuskers 34. That pass behind the intended receiver, Caruth again.
Well, Caruth is just a true freshman also, and I think he busted that route because that was a surprise throw right there, and that's why he was late with it. Bill McCartney told us that this kid is something special. He's going to be a great receiver before he leaves Colorado.
Had his best game last week. 5 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. And the route over Kansas State, 54-7. There he is as he trots out to the top of your screen. 2nd and 10. Detmer hit as he threw, got it complete to the 20-yard line, Charles Johnson. And a first down.
Well, I tell you, there are guys coming in his face. I'm standing up here, and you really have to marvel at his timing of throws with guys coming right at him. You see to the outside, it's man-to-man out here. This guy on this one on that one, but the pressure inside is what's really making the difference in this game. This ball is delivered to the outside and boom, right on the numbers. Good execution.
I tell you what, after holding Nebraska to a field goal down on the other end, and if they should take it in and score in this direction, this would be about a 10-point swing for Colorado, even though they're still trail on the scoreboard. And with 4:12 left, boy, Detmer wants to talk it over at a timeout. Buffaloes. They trail Nebraska 17-0.
Services began in Pennsylvania more than 200 years ago, but their numbers are dropping, and that's a problem. Did you know that to support the firefighters at the scene, it takes many more behind the scene? Training, equipment, maintenance, fundraising, these are just a few of the jobs that are available. I'm Lieutenant Governor Mark Singal. Not every volunteer needs to fight the fire, but without your support, this is just a drop in the bucket. Volunteer, it makes a difference.
It's the most innovative and exciting lineup in our history. Introducing Jeep and Eagle for 1993. See the technically advanced new Jeep Grand Cherokee and the sophisticated new Eagle Vision. Get a Cherokee Sport for less than you ever dreamed possible. Or jump into fun-loving Jeep Wrangler at a price like this. But whatever you do, don't miss the 93s at your Jeep and Eagle dealer today.
There's only one Jeep, and it's only at your Key States Jeep and Eagle dealer.
It's the stuff of fantasy. Great golf in paradise. Don't miss the Senior PGA Tour season finale, the Kaanapali Classic, Saturday and Sunday from Maui, only on ESPN.
I'm Chris Berman. Join us Sunday at noon Eastern Time for ESPN's NFL Game Day. We'll talk the other great Barry running back, Barry Foster of the Steelers, the unknown Dallas Cowboy defense, and the science of talking tough. We'll talk tough on Sunday.
With Gary Danielson and Dr. Jerry Punch, Brad Nessler with you in Lincoln, Nebraska, where it's the Cornhuskers by 17, but Colorado has taken it 6 plays and 61 yards. 1st and 10 at the Cornhusker 20. Detmer with more time this time, but incomplete, intended for Johnson again. John Reese was over there covering. The Colorado coach is impressed with this young man, number 6, Reese, the junior out of Houston.
Yeah, he played as a true freshman here in 1989, but lost a whole year in 1990 with knee. But he's come back, he's got his speed back, and Bill McCartney told us that he can really cover.
2nd down at 10, still plenty of time. There's what the drive has done so far. It's taken only 2.5 minutes to go from their own 19 to the Nebraska 20. Quick rhythm pass again and complete. Westbrook, great stop at the 12. You talk about putting the brakes on. How about Westbrook stopping before the sideline, and he's got it 1st and goal at the 3.
You can't believe how tough of a throw this is. To get rid of this ball, you throw it about 25 yards, and it's thrown with timing. As soon as Westbrook turned around, that ball was in his stomach like a handoff, and Westbrook is just so good after he catches the ball. He turns around, boom, that ball is right there in his stomach. He almost like he's going to go out of bounds, but turns it up. It's a huge drive.
Westbrook with that catch, the single-season receiving leader as far as number of receptions. And on the ground, Colorado scores. James Hill for the touchdown. An impressive Colorado drive, and the first time they've been on the board today.
Yeah, a little surprised with Nebraska that time. They stayed with their dime defense there on the 3-yard line, and Nebraska ran right at the little man over the defensive tackle area.
81-yard march. Berger in for the point after. Colorado finally on the board with 3:34 left, and Boyd Detmer engineered quite a drive for Colorado.
Absolutely, coming off an interception. You're going to see it. They're going to run it right at him this time. It's called a George block. Down, and the guard kicks out. And with this weak spot in the defense with the dime package, they took it right at the weakness.
Hill only averaged about 2 yards a carry per 2 yards per carry last week, but had a couple of touchdowns, and he's got one here today. He's the one that finished it off, but Gary, you can't say enough about the freshman Detmer on that drive.
Yeah, 6 for 9, 62 yards, but he was in control the whole way. He came up. Remember, he started with a no huddle. He caught Nebraska a little off balance. They had pretty good pressure on him too, but his accuracy of his throws are what paid off.
So Colorado with 3:34 left in the half, set to kick away, trailing now by 10. The conditions, by the way, if you can't tell by watching the game, certainly haven't improved, and in fact have deteriorated a little bit, and the wind has switched around a bit as well. Sold out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, 187 straight sellouts. The place is packed and has been since a couple of hours before game time. It is homecoming. Nebraska's won 23 in a row at homecoming. Berger, the kick. This will be Corey Dixon at the 5-yard line. And Dixon out to about the 22.
One more look at the touchdown right here. You see, this is still a nickel, and this is defensive back, and that's where they're going to run the ball. They're going to block, and kick out right into the weakness of the defense. The guard comes out, kicks out, and you got a defensive back trying to make a tackle on a running back near the goal line. Very surprised Nebraska didn't go back to their 5-2 look.
Hill's 3rd touchdown of the season, by the way, that 3-yard dive. And now Nebraska with a first down at its own 22. The counter. Jones broke one tackle, but he couldn't get away from Beaker. Meeker will put some tackles on you. Gary mentioned it earlier. Came in with 383 career stops. Last year he scored 2 points on a blocked extra point attempt by Nebraska, so he was part of that 19-19 tie a year ago. Second and 12, Cornhuskers from the 20. Two tight ends set. Frazier on play action. Plenty of time to throw, but he still one-hopped it, intended for Tyrone Hughes. Talking about the weather, let's see what it's like down on the field with Jerry.
Guys, when the game began, it was about 40 degrees here and just a light mist. Now the mist has gotten much heavier. It's almost a steady drizzle. It can't be more than about 35 degrees, and the wind has shifted directions. Now it's out of the east at about 12 to 15 miles an hour. Folks, it's getting worse down here on the field. Back upstairs.
I tell you what, got the glove and everything.
He's got a good look, the Michael Jackson look right there. Jerry Michael Jackson punch. The doctor.
Third down and 12. Nebraska 3 out of 7 on their third down conversions today. They'll try to option for it. Colorado's defense stops them this time. Dwayne Davis and Ted Johnson bring down Calvin Jones.
Colorado has made an adjustment. They have moved their strong safety, Dwayne Davis, right there, number 21, up in the playing field. It's really an 8-man front now, and they're making that option string out a little wider. The only time it's really worked the option play is when he's kept it, and that time the linebackers were on the play, stopping Tommy Frazier.
Deion Figures hasn't been able to get loose yet today as a punt returner, but he's second in the Big 8 at almost 12 yards a return, so keep him in mind on this kick. Good kick by Stiggy again. Way back to the 32. Figures got about his average out of it. Brought it back to the 43-yard line. 51-yard kick and a 13-yard return. At halftime, we'll have updates on the Cardinal and the Huskies. Georgia and Florida with that big party going on in Jacksonville, and the Penn State Blues. Tim Brando and the gang will bring you all that coming up in about a minute and 49 seconds. Colorado's got it back on offense, trailing by 10. Detmer has it knocked away. Hill has got it.
Usually a quarterback is bothered by pressure up the middle. It has been from the outside, and it's been coming from Travis Hill, number 93, and Trev Alberts. This time it's Hill, the bottom of your screen. Watch as Detmer moves up in the pocket. Hill's going to pick his pocket. Takes it right away from him, and if Detmer doesn't make this tackle right here, that's going to be 6 points.
You wonder why Travis Hill's up for the Butkus Award, trying interception and a fumble recovery already today for number 93. It sets his offense up at the Colorado 27. Jones on the counter again. Breaks back in the middle and got it to the 22-yard line.
You called it right, Brad. It's the same play that he scored on before. Two tight ends run the counter tray. This time it's pushed from the outside. He has to cut up. He's going to take one step to his right and then follow those big guys. Gashes it up the middle and almost gets through for another big touchdown run.
Boyd Detmer hoping for another chance before halftime. Doesn't look like a possibility right now. With just over a minute to go in the quarter as Jones is dropped at the 21. Greg Biekert again. It'll bring up a third down situation and a timeout, Nebraska. With 1:03 left in the half, we'll take a break as well. 17-7 Cornhuskers in front of the Buffaloes. 63 seconds from halftime. Nebraska by 10. And a third down and 4 for the Cornhuskers.
8-man front.
It doesn't pay off. Will Shields has got the football.
The old fumble-rooski on that play. You could have a 10-man or an 11-man front on that play because nobody expected Will Shields to get the ball. I was going to call that play.
Yeah, right. I bet you were.
They just lay it on the ground, and the big right guard is going to pick it up. You see it steady on the ground. Shields picks it up right in the middle of your screen. He's not 4'5", he's not 4'6",
but he's 305.
That's right.
It's first and goal at the 6-yard line. On the option, Frazier keeps it near the 3. Ted Johnson holding on to that leg. Boy, those are the plays you just never prepare for. But I don't mean just as a defensive player.
No. If you're willing to take that gamble on offense, and that's really the second one that Tom Osborne has done in this football game. Remember the fake field goal earlier?
That's right.
And that Will Shields has this little smile on his smirk on his face. He probably had it breaking the huddle that time too. What a great football player he is.
First player from the state of Oklahoma ever to play for Nebraska. Two-time all Big 8 player.
Yeah, and he was all Big 8 as a true sophomore. The first time that's been done here too.
Somebody asked Bill McCartney during the offseason who he would start a program with in the Big 8 when they got together for their Big 8 conference. He picked this guy.
Yeah, I wonder if he meant as a running back or a guard. No.
Candidate for the Lombardi Award picks up a gigantic first down for Nebraska with 30 seconds left. Second and goal at the 3, and Tim and the gang coming along at halftime with updates on those games and all the finals from earlier today. They'll also keep you posted on what's going on with the Kansas Jayhawks, who are in first place in the Big 8 with a perfect 3-0 mark. These two clubs trying to get near the Orange Bowl right now. Nebraska just trying to get in the Colorado end zone again. Frazier keeps it. Inside the 2. Ron Woolfolk and Ronnie Bradford stopped him. Clock ticking down to 15 seconds. They'll go without a huddle. Down to 10 seconds. Frazier. Jones airborne, didn't get there. Flag down. Four seconds left with a penalty marker down. And now where was the movement, on the defensive side of things or on offense?
I don't know if it's going to make much difference, because on this play with 4 seconds to go, you have to believe Nebraska is going to take the 3 points and go for the field goal.
It is against the defense. You want to talk decision time. The line of scrimmage was the 1. This would put it at the 18-inch line or somewhere in that ballpark.
Right. It's third down here, but in reality it's fourth down because you only have time for one more play. Right. Nebraska has a timeout. I wouldn't be surprised if they took it right here.
Offside on the defense. Timeout. Offense.
Time to talk it over. As Gary said, it's only one play no matter what happens. So now Frazier can talk it over with Tom Osborne on the sideline. And they are definitely.
Nebraska's going to try to go over the top on the previous play, but he's just hit at the top of his jump and driven backwards. Going to see it right here one more time. Comes to the outside and over the top. You see those linebackers just jump high enough to push him back. He tries to run out of it, but I assume the whistle had blown. You're going to see one more look at the Fumblerooski play right here. The snap to the quarterback, and he's just going to start out like an option. The ball's set on the turf, and then Will Shields, number 75, picks it up, frees it right there. That's him right here. Big guard, 305 pounds. He's got the football. The option is taking place over here, and everybody's turning their heads, and he has the football going down, driving through it. I'd like to be a DB coming up on that tackle.
Forget it. Nebraska, the top rushing team in the country, coming in, showing why.
They're going to go for it.
One play till halftime. Will it be a defensive stop for Colorado or another Nebraska touchdown? We're about to find out. Jones. He's in. 70 yards and 3 touchdowns for Calvin Jones in the first half.
And it's a play that Nebraska puts in first. Isolation play, 2 backers coming to the left side. This time they don't blow an assignment, and you can see he gets it into the end zone for a touchdown.
And the point after by Byron Bennett will make it 24-7 Cornhuskers. And that's a coach that's going to have to be happy heading to the locker room with what appears to be a 17-point advantage.
Again, that touchdown went to the left side. And Brad, the left side of that line, Lundberg, Malin, and Scott all played 8-man high school football. 2 of them were walk-ons, and they were the ones they chose to run this ball to the left side for the touchdown.
And how do you feel as a coach when you make that call, a gutsy call in the final stages of the half? It's just another day at the office.
He was very calm yesterday when we visited with him. He said we've got a great rushing football team, good backs, and Tommy Frazier adds another dimension to the football team that I haven't had with a speed quarterback in a while.
And all the great linemen that Nebraska's had over the years, the Remingtons and the Steinkuhlers and that group, and Tom Osborne thinks as a group maybe this is the best front wall he's ever had. That's saying a lot, isn't it?
You got to believe that, dude. This is a team that's just been a rushing powerhouse for the last 20 years.
1 second left, so you would assume that Byron Bennett's going to squib one downfield here. And Tommy Frazier, the true freshman, making only his second start in that red uniform, and he's done a nice job today. But again, as Gary said in our open, when you've got running backs in an offensive line like he has, as long as you don't make many mistakes, you've helped the cause.
Yeah, he hasn't done it really throwing, but his speed has really been something to watch in this game.
Expect this one to be a line drive. Goes directly to one of the up men, Scott Phillips. He takes it to the 34-yard line, and the first half has come to a close. Nebraska at homecoming, and they've got the big lead on Colorado.
Campaign to take questionable contributions, accepted thousands in special interest money, been criticized for grandstanding and jeopardizing cases. And instead of concentrating on fighting crime, Preate has spent his time trying to deny women the right to choose. We need a new Attorney General. That's why DAs across the state are supporting Joe Cohn, Democrat for Attorney General.
For Fred Schuler Nissan. I'm excited, and you will be too. The 1993 Altima is finally here, so Camry, Accord, and Taurus better watch out. The all-new Altima with its 150 horsepower engine, roomy interior, ride and handling comparable to cars costing twice as much, starts at just $13,000. It's time to expect more from a car, and Altima delivers. Drive one at Fred Schuler Nissan, Wilkes-Barre.
Just a reminder that kids who participate in high school sports tend to go a little farther than those who don't.
It's turning into the kind of day where you'd like to light a fire in the living room and sit back, I guess, if you're in Nebraska, and watch the Cornhuskers roll. That's what they've done so far, Gary. 24-7. They're doing what they do well, running the ball. I guess Colorado's doing all right with their air game, but they haven't got any kind of ground game going, and Detmer's paying the price for that.
It's really been the problem of their game so far on offense is they've been able to run the ball. No way. They haven't been able to gain anything. In fact, their longest gain has been by Detmer on a quarterback draw, and that means Nebraska has put pressure. It's been coming from the outside, from Trev Alberts and Hill. This is just an example. Both guys coming around the corner. Nebraska's gone with a dime defense the whole time, and it's really been tough on the Colorado pass protection.
Even tougher when you're down 24-7 and you've got to give it to Nebraska to start the third quarter. Berger to kick. Dixon and Hughes back deep for Nebraska, and they're going to try it again. That shows you the conditions we have. Remember, when the game started, it was about 50 degrees, a light rain, a very light mist, and a little bit of wind. And now we've got more wind swirling around Memorial Stadium. The rain has intensified since early in the first quarter. And if I'm standing up there, I want to make sure I can grab that railing if I have to.
Either that or you better be a good ice skater, because it's getting cold, and we could have it really slippery up there.
You and I are out of those blazers and into the leather jackets. We'll let everybody know that. Here's the kick. And trouble handling it. Hughes touched it, and Dixon will touch it down as we go down to Dr. Jerry Punch. Doc?
Guys, at halftime I spoke with Colorado coach Bill McCartney, who told me they were going to go in the locker room and try to convince Coy Detmer that those interceptions were not his fault. They were basically blown assignments up front in the blockers and poor pass routes. He said, also, we know with our offense we can score a lot of points in a hurry. Our job is to convince our kids so they know it in the second half. Back upstairs.
We'll find out if they can convince them. Right now, the Colorado defense on the field facing Nebraska 1st and 20 from its own 20. 1st and 10 from its own 20. And just about the way they ended the first half, they start the second half. And that's with Derek Brown for a good gain on the ground. And the ground game of Nebraska, look at that difference. 180 to -7.
Yeah, Tommy Frazier was 0 for 7 in the first half, but his option play got him through it. And for Nebraska, when you have a minus in the rushing column on defense, you're feeling good as a defensive unit.
That's incredible. Frazier without a completion and still a 24-7 lead. Second down along 2. It'll be close for Derek Brown.
This has really been the key. I mean, it's just been choose any way you want to run this game so far. They've had equal success running it both ways. That inside left was really that big play that they had for a touchdown when Jones cracked the play and he had great blocking downfield. But, you know, they really haven't had a weakness anywhere they want to run. You can just dial a running play. They've been successful with it.
Behind that front wall. Remember, they came in #1 in the country rushing 348 yards a game. And obviously, with that 180 total, they're well more than half on their way to another outing like that. And here's a first down and then some for Lewis. They don't use him much on the ground. When they do, he usually produces. Lance Lewis, first down out to the 41.
Yeah, he doesn't get many carries, but with the ability to hand it off quickly in the option, you see those linebackers just to lean out to the outside, and that's just going to run right by him, and the fullback is very effective when you can run the ball wide.
Cordell Stewart warming up on the Colorado sideline. And will the Buffaloes make a change at quarterback when they get the ball?
I don't think so. I think Coy Detmer has done well enough. It's really not been his problem. They need to run the ball better, not change quarterbacks.
Nebraska from the 41. Frazier on the option is going to keep it. And boy, did he get tagged by Chris Hudson, the free safety.
I'll tell you, that's a down goes Frazier right there. Because Hudson comes from the secondary. He's been blocked a few times, but you're going to see Frazier take it around the outside. And if he was a boxer on this one, you'd make the call. Go ahead, Brad, take it over. You're the real announcer.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
This is a knockout blow coming from the secondary, and boom.
Chris Hudson, a sophomore out of Houston. One more look from one more angle, and it doesn't get any prettier for Tommy Frazier. 2nd and 9. Weaving his way up to the 47 is Derek Brown. Marcellus Elder, who was shaken up earlier in the game, back in there and made the tackle. And again, they start the third quarter as they started the first quarter, with Derek Brown as the main man on the ground. And then when they go to Calvin Jones, he gives them a little something different, and he's got 3 touchdowns to show for it today.
Yeah, Elder's back in. He hurt that ankle a little bit in the first half. They must have used up all their tape and got him out there.
3rd down and 4. Frazier the other way. They had him hemmed in, and he broke away. Senior and a freshman have a little chat at the end of the play, but it's the freshman that got the first down all the way to the 40-yard line.
You talk about quick feet. This is quick feet. You look it up in the dictionary, you're going to see this run right here for a quarter. Remember, this kid was playing high school football last year. 1, 2, a skip there, a skip there. He's into the secondary, and he gets another handcuffed right there, but he powers through it. What a magnificent run on 3rd down.
Got 13 yards, his 4th run of 10 or more today on the option. This time he wants to throw. Complete to the 39-yard line. Vince Hawkins, the wingback. And it was Chris Hudson with another good hit defensively. Frazier, highly recruited, as Gary mentioned earlier, made his trip to Colorado. Definitely liked it. Bill McCartney thought he was going to have this young man as a quarterback. And then Coy Detmer came into the picture. And Coy Detmer's father and Bill McCartney had a little chat. And he said, we want Coy going somewhere where we know he's not going to have another true freshman quarterback he'll have to face. With that in mind, Detmer committed. They called Tommy Frazier and said, Tommy, we're full up at Colorado. He ends up in Nebraska, and he's kind of been a nightmare for him today. Derek Brown. And Elder again wrapped him up as he got it to the 35-yard line. Now, if Nebraska takes this thing the length of the field to open up the 3rd quarter and gets another touchdown, it is going to be a long way back, and I don't care how well you throw the football.
I just took the words right out of my mouth. I think this is a key drive in this football game. They go to behind 31-7. You're going to see a 2-minute drill the rest of the game, because that's a lot of points to go against Nebraska's defense, especially the trouble they've had pass protecting from the outside.
And of course, that Colorado group right there defensively has been on the field a long time today. Here's another key 3rd down. Frazier rolls and delivers, and it's incomplete. Broken up at the 29-yard line, intended for Trumaine Bell, and Ronnie Bradford out there along with Dion Figures make the hit.
Problem with that type of a pass is both the defensive backs and everybody in the stands knew the receivers were going to go just past the 1st down area and try to pick up the 1st down. So did Bradford. He played it as a 1st down type pass. He was right there, and he was covered pretty well.
Mike Stiggy has punted extremely well today. There's his numbers. This time they won't ask him to blast one that long, but rather to put one inside the 10-yard line somewhere, which is where Dion Figures awaits. Mike Stiggy celebrating his 23rd birthday today as we look behind him on the kick. Heads it toward the sideline. What a great birthday present he just gave himself. At the 2. That's where the Buffaloes will have it when we come back.
Today, for the first time in half a century, America is not at war. And America's wartime economy is changing to a peacetime economy. But that change has brought fear and uncertainty. The fear of losing a job, of losing a home. The uncertainty of tougher economic competition from around the world. But with change comes opportunity. And my agenda for American renewal can be the bridge to the future. It provides a choice of quality schools so our children have the knowledge to compete. It provides job training so workers have the new skills to compete. It provides health care for all and controls spiraling costs so our people can afford to compete. And my agenda strengthens small businesses that create 2 of every 3 jobs so we have the new jobs to compete. Today, we stand at the threshold of a new era. We change the world around us. Together, we must do the same at home.
Drop everything. Dodge B250 Ram vans now come complete with everything you need for work or play. Like air, bigger tires and mirrors, power everything, and tons more. You'll get $1,000 cash back, up to $2,720 in package discounts, and save $3,720 in all during the National Dodge Truck Sale, now arriving at a Dodge dealer near you.
ESPN's presentation of CFA College Football is brought to you by Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that fresh, pure, natural taste, nothing beats a Bud. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, and Dr. Jerry Punch with you for Nebraska's 82nd homecoming. So far, a good one for them with a 24-7 lead. And Colorado has been the story the whole game with horrible field position
courtesy this time of a sticky punt again.
Yeah, you remember they had one early in the game when they downed it on the 2-foot line, and watch this one go out like it had eyes.
Great kicking job by that young man. Not young anymore, 23 years old. Time to get done punting, get a job. Maybe punting somewhere, right? Jim Hansen being helped off the field. The all Big 8 offensive lineman for Colorado.
Yeah, senior goes off, and a redshirt freshman, Chad Hammond, goes in.
And he has to face the likes of Travis Hill. Great job, huh? 2nd and 6. Warren run out of bounds. And I mean run out of bounds. Carmer and Bird are over there. They have to feel a little bit for Lamont Warren. He's having a tough enough time getting it going on the ground, and as soon as he took that handoff, somebody chunked an orange from way up there in the first deck and almost hit him with it.
Yeah, he's a 10-6, 100-meter sprinter, but he's having a tough time getting to the line of scrimmage so far in this football game.
4 yards on 7 carries for Lamont Warren.
Yeah, the longest rushing game so far was by Coy Detmer.
Detmer may be running for his life here again. 3rd and 3. One hopped it, intended for Westbrook, incomplete. Officially, he's only been sacked a couple of times, but when you count the knockdowns and the hurries, it's been a long day for Coy Detmer.
This time they try to get him out of the pocket and take some of the pressure off a young offensive line against these 2 outstanding linebackers. But it's going to be Hill again right in his face. When you're trying to throw a ball 20 yards downfield with a linebacker in your face, that's extremely difficult.
Well, Mitch Berger can air one out if he can get it off. 9 men on the line of scrimmage. Dual return men in Dixon and Hughes. Back for the Cornhuskers. Line drive kick should be returnable for Hughes from the 46. To the 44 of Colorado with 9:08 to go, 3rd quarter, and Nebraska in command.
Okay, so why is it the only thing we have in common with these older guys?
Give me a Budweiser.
Is the beer we drink.
Coincidence, perhaps? Well, perhaps there's some unseen force that binds the universe together and makes us like Bud.
Or perhaps you guys could just ask him.
Budweiser just isn't like other beers.
Beechwood age.
It's the rice. It's the hops. Whoa, maybe we can learn something from our elders after all.
A Big Mac and a Diet Coke, please.
Get the extra value meal. It's only $2.99, plus you get fries.
We'll just have some of yours.
No, I ordered fries because I want fries. They're mine, not yours. If you want fries with dinner, get your own.
Mom, could I have some of my fries?
I'll just have some of your father's.
No.
With our $2.99 Big Mac Extra Value Meal and low-priced Happy Meals, the whole family can get exactly what they want for dinner.
What you want is what you get. Free refill? I'll just have some of his. At McDonald's tonight.
We were on our way home for a Thanksgiving vacation, and this 18-wheeler passed us, and I saw the trailer begin to sway, and I said he's going to lose it. And he did. He crashed, then spun around and crashed again.
With the Dodge minivan, we totaled our vehicle, but we didn't lose a child.
With over 3 million sold, our minivans have been a part of more lives than all other minivans combined.
They'll be hot stepping over the goal line in another great night of college football. Iowa State beats Kansas State Thursday night on ESPN.
That Big 8 game Thursday. This one is 24-7. Nebraska with 9:08 to go in the 3rd quarter. And again, Nebraska with excellent field position. Derek Brown got a couple. Shannon Clavel, the nose man, and Beekert again helping out on the tackle.
You know, you want to say when you're watching this game, is Nebraska getting too conservative running the ball here? Well, that's what they do best.
Right.
I mean, they're just eating up the yards, and I don't see anything wrong with running that ball between the tackles. They've had great success with it.
At this stage, they just don't want mistakes. They were 5th in the country in turnover ratio coming in on the positive side, while Colorado's way on the short end of college football in that category. And Brown trying to break the tackle of Beekert and can't. The story of this one, well, it opened up with a touchdown early for Nebraska after a Detmer interception. And no rushing at all for Colorado to go with those 3 turnovers, that interception included. And Calvin Jones, 3 touchdowns on his 70 yards. And he and Derek Brown have been quite a tandem in the backfield for Tom Osborne today. 3rd down and 9. Now let's see if they do put it in the air. Tommy Frazier's going to call a timeout.
Good move. Very aware for a young quarterback. The 25-second clock was down to 1. He knew he couldn't get the play off. Why make a big mistake?
While Tommy Frazier talks with Tom Osborne, we'll take a break and be back right after this. Tommy Frazier, having called the timeout, brings up his Cornhuskers with a 3rd and 9. At the Colorado 42-yard line. They fake the counter. Frazier wants to throw. Man open, and he dropped it. Willie Washington, the tight end. Well executed until the end of the play.
You can't get any more open than that. When I first watched the play up here, I thought it was a run all the way, and I think so did Colorado. Free safety Davis bites on it. He's got Washington wide open, but watch his feet go out from under him while he tries to stop and catch this ball. He doesn't even touch it. You see it right here. He's going to try to stop and catch this ball. His feet's going to go out from under him. And Washington doesn't even touch the ball or slow it down on that play.
Well, time for Mike Stiggy again. 2 inside the 5 today. This one just barely made the end zone. We talked about turnovers and how they can be key to these 2 teams. You talk about opposite ends of the spectrum. Colorado came in 104th out of 107 Division 1A schools, and they've added to that -11. -14 turnover ratio. And look at Nebraska, 7th best in the country at +11.
Yeah, they've been dodging bullets with those turnovers all year, only tying 1 football game, but it's bound to catch up with you, and it looks like it is today so far.
Here's the freshman back out there, Detmer. 1st and 10, Colorado. The blitz on him again, and he's intercepted. Mike Anderson, and now it's -15.
Mike Anderson does a beautiful job here of again reading Detmer's eyes. He's freed up on this play. He looks at Warren, the tailback. When he blocks, he's going to just read his eyes, and he gets into the zone, makes the interception. A real nice catch.
And a 1st and 10 for Nebraska. And they turned turnovers into points before today, and they already have a 24-7 lead. Frazier on the keep. Thought about a pitch at the late stage of that option and thought the better of it. Chad Brown ran him down, number 34. 7 minutes and 10 seconds remaining, 3rd quarter. The Cornhuskers leading the Buffaloes 24-7. Key game in the Big 8. Remember, Kansas coming up for both these teams in the upcoming weeks, and Kansas right now on top of the Big 8. They were leading at last report, and if they win, would go to 4-0. Nebraska trying to remain perfect in the conference at 3-0. 2nd down and 5. They bring the option the other way. And again, Frazier shows his speed, but so did Greg Beaker, who made the tackle.
One more look at that interception. This is Mike Anderson right here in the middle. You see, no backs back here, so he's allowed to just drop back and play Detmer's eyes. He's going to watch and watch and watch and watch him break to the ball before it's really even thrown. And that's what's key. The pressure up front, no running back to hold him in there. And he just drops back into his zone drop and makes the pickoff. I really think that's the 2nd interception that Coy's thrown where he hasn't looked off as a throwing quarterback, and you have to do that.
Even with that little 5 o'clock shadow, you can tell he's a 19-year-old true freshman. Here's another 3rd down, Nebraska. Frazier does pitch this time, and it's good for a 1st down. Ball loose at the end of the play. Nebraska still has it. Vincent Hawkins, a wingback, fell on a ball that seemed to lie there forever. I think Colorado thought it had been blown dead or whatever the case, but now the case is 1st and goal, Cornhuskers.
This time on the option, Frazier's going to step back and come down an option right here to Brown. There's no fake, but he gets one-on-one at the end of the line of scrimmage, and when he gets pressured, just makes the easy pitch from the linebacker, and there's the space that Brown has to run. And you're right about this. At the end of the play, Colorado stops. There's no whistle. That ball's free, and Nebraska comes up with it.
Vincent Hawkins, number 38, will be the last guy to come into your picture and come up with the fumble recovery. What it does is give the Cornhuskers 1st and goal. The fullback, Lance Lewis, about a yard, and that's all. And all day long, the Colorado defense has been down here inside their own 5-yard line, facing Tom Osborne's big offensive line and running backs.
Well, how about that score? 41-7. Washington all over Stanford today.
Look at some of the other finals and games still in progress. Big ones still going on around the country. 2nd and goal at the 3, Nebraska. Up 24-7 and trying to add to it.
Here comes the option again out there.
To the left side. And Frazier gets collared and dropped. Brian Diet, the junior defensive end, made the hit.
You know, Colorado's defense was looking at options in spring ball for years. Now they're looking at passes, and the option game has given them trouble so far in this game. Diet does a nice job that time of getting in on that play, but they had pursuit coming all the way down. Beekert was also there.
Well, here's another big 3rd down situation for both the Colorado defense and the Nebraska offense, about 5.5 yards away from the Buffalo's end zone.
I think Nebraska has anything like a quarterback draw right here, because if they do, I would bet they'd dial it.
They'll fill up that backfield with Hawkins, the wingback, in there. Now the motion man out is Brown. Frazier throws. Touchdown. Gerald Armstrong, the tight end. Another Nebraska touchdown.
It was off the bootleg action, giving Frazier 2 options here, either to run or to pull up and throw this ball. And Frazier's so calm. Remember, just a true freshman running on offense with his feet, and now finally with the arm.
Extra point makes it 31-7. And 58 seconds to go, 3rd quarter. Gerald Armstrong, 4 catches on the year, and then go to the right, 4 touchdowns on the year.
How does that have to feel? I mean, that's a young man who walked on here at Nebraska, catching a pass, a big touchdown pass in a huge game like this.
Homecoming 92 has been everything Nebraska had hoped for.
It appears we're going to see Cordell Stewart.
.26 yards, 6 plays was the drive, 3:28 the time. There's the man that had it in the end zone. Don't forget, the top-ranked team in the country is yet to come. You know the Mountaineers are not going to be in the greatest of moods over the last couple of weeks. They've had some close games, some games that Don Nalen has questioned the officiating in, and now they take on the #1 team in the country. That should be a dandy later. Bennett to kick. Mitchell trying to run it down. It goes out of the end zone. And here comes Cordell Stewart.
Well, I'm sure he's going to enjoy playing, but looking up at the clock at 31-7.
I was going to say this would not be the spot I'd want to get my hands on the ball again.
This is when you run on the field and you say, Coach, you want me to tie it or win this thing?
and signals. Ball loose. Whistle dead at the line of scrimmage. Travis Hill has been all over the place. Close to that one again. Hill has had a marvelous game. A senior out of Pearland, Texas. 6'2", 240. Butkus candidate. What a game he's had. He's got an interception already today and a fumble recovery and raised a little havoc in the Colorado backfield that time. Stewart. Here comes Hill again. Perella and Alberts with the sack.
It's been overwhelming. The front seven for Nebraska, they've been using a dime front, and they have been putting pressure the whole game on the quarterback. Cordell Stewart, Coy Detmer, Steve Young, Randall Cunningham, it's not going to matter. If you bring people like this from the outside, these two linebackers, Alberts and Hill, have just been dynamic. I mean, it's like having, two sprinters coming around that corner, keeping it in the pocket.
And then with Big Perella cleaning up, you've really got a group to reckon with. 3rd and 20. Stewart, deep ball, tipped. Kenny Wilhite got his hands on it. Donnell Liamidi was the intended receiver.
Yeah, I don't even think that play counted. I think they blew that whistle before the play started.
Nebraska has sacked, knocked down, hurried, blocked, and picked off Colorado quarterbacks all day long.
Yeah, that's enough for a season, let alone a football game like this, especially when you're on national television.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the 3rd down.
They'll get another shot at it. Now it'll only be 3rd and 15.
Yeah, that's a lot better. Just keep your eyes on the two outside men, 34 and 93. They've been playing havoc.
Stewart got rid of it. Penalty markers down. 34 and 93 were back there again.
That time it was Alberts who came from the backside to hit Stewart, and he was being held on the play. As you can see the signal, the whole time he's rushing. The offensive tackle was holding the best he could, but he couldn't keep him out of there. It's a bad sign, Brad, when your offensive line is holding and you're still getting pressure from the backside. You're going to see Cordell Stewart get hit just as he lets this ball go. That's why it was a one-hopper.
Mitch Berger from his own end zone again. Tyrone Hughes, the senior out of New Orleans, has done a nice job returning punts for Nebraska this afternoon. Another nice kick under pressure. Hughes from the 37. And good coverage downfield as well. No return after a 48-yard punt. 2 minutes and 29 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Colorado in the short end, 31-7.
Kind of look at this Nebraska offense. It gets a lot of criticism around the country right now because they just run the ball. But like that old tie you have in the closet that comes back in fashion? I think this is going to be the offense of the future because you have to be able to run the ball.
I got a couple ties I know will never make it back. Frazier to the first man, Lewis, the fullback, who crossed the 40 to the 41.
Everyone knows you have to throw the ball to move it in modern college football, but you also have to be able to run the ball a little bit, and that's what Colorado is being exposed today. Is they have no rushing attack. They put this offense in this year, and they're not ready for a defense like this.
Bill McCartney, who made the drastic offensive change.
Yeah, and he knew this year would be a transition year. He's looking for the long run. He's got a young football team. He's looking for 1993 and 94.
Yeah, he says we're only about halfway there in our offense. On a 2nd and 6, the toss to Brown. That's a tough run. Brown got it near the 45-yard line. Chris Hudson, number 47, again from his safety spot, made the tackle. As we wind our way down, closing up the third quarter, 1:30 left.
I tell you, you give Will Shields the ball one time, he starts running like a back. Watch him come around. This man weighs 300 pounds. Right guard, he's going to sprint around the outside, and when he gets up on a linebacker there, he keeps pushing him out of the picture. What an offensive guard. I can see why Coach McCartney said, I'd like to have him on my team.
Senior out of Lawton, Oklahoma, 305-pounder. Here's the give to the first man, Lewis, the fullback again. First down at midfield. Deion Figures made the stop. But Lance Lewis, who doesn't get a lot of publicity because of Calvin Jones and Derek Brown, has a first down, Nebraska. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim.
Brad, how's number 2 in trying harder? Well, let me show you. Billy Joe Hobart comes into the game, runs a little option. Look at him go. Stanford is getting walloped 41-7, and you know Miami knows the score. You'll see them later against West Virginia.
How'd you like that Don James quarterback problems, huh?
How would you like to be on West Virginia right now knowing that, too?
Forget about it. Derek Brown. There's 9 more yards before Chad Brown can make the hit. Derek Brown's only a 185-pounder, but he plays bigger than that.
I'll tell you, Nebraska has controlled this game with their front people all game, and it's not going to end the rest of this football game. Their offensive line, their fullback that time, Lewis comes in and fits on it somebody, and with these backs slashing up in there and gaining confidence with every run, you're going to see it for the rest of the game.
75 yards on the ground for Derek Brown now, so both Jones and Brown over 70 yards rushing. Second and just a yard to go, and Brown will try to do it again, and he has the first down to the 34. Darius Holland, the nose tackle, made the stop, but not before Brown has a first down to end the third quarter.
This time is Jim Scott. He's only 265 pounds, but he manhandles Travell, and they just turn it up there for more positive yards.
And at the end of 3, Nebraska manhandling Colorado, 31-7.
Okay, let's begin. You know how to recognize Federal Express. You may not know how to recognize Conaca. There, now you do. What you know about Federal Express, what Federal Express knows about Conaca. Why you use Federal Express, why Federal Express uses Conaca. So if you know this company, you should know this company. Because Conaca delivers for Federal Express. Class dismissed.
I can't tell you how it feels when you're way out there on your own tracking the bad guys. How it feels leading a skilled team that's the eyes and ears of the whole outfit. When all your training is coming alive. But finding those tanks and telling the air cavalry right where to hit them, I can tell you exactly how that feels.
I don't need some fancy.
Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, and a frozen Dr. Jerry Punch. Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska, with a Cornhuskers lead heading into the fourth quarter, 31-7. Here's Lance Lewis, the fullback. He's going to score. Came in averaging over 8.5 yards a carry. We told he doesn't see it often, but when he does, he makes it count. 34 yards, touchdown.
Lewis is like a Tom Rathman, a guy you never heard of, but he's going to be a player on Sunday, one of these guys. In high school, listen to this, he won the state 100, 200, and the shot put.
Nice combination.
That sounds like a fullback to me.
It has not been a pleasant day for Bill McCartney. Extra point, Byron Bennett up and in. It's 38-7, Nebraska.
Colorado safeties were cheated up and wide looking for the option, and when they split it up front right here with this great offensive line blocking, this man is gone. Lance Lewis, number 26, you're not going to catch him. If that doesn't look reminiscent of a Tom Rathman, I don't know what does. It's one of those backs here at Nebraska where they just kind of get blended in because they don't get a lot of opportunities. He also has good hands. He won the Big 8 shot put championship kind of as a hobby this year, too.
Just goofing around. You and I were talking during the break, Gary, about the fact that Nebraska, depending on how many times they get the ball remaining in this game, might have 3 guys go over 100 yards rushing. Lewis just jumped in the picture. You never know how many guys he'll have.
Frazier's got 86, Brown 81, and Jones 70. And all of a sudden you give it to the fullback and he gashes you for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, and Will Shields has 7 yards on 1 carry.
Yeah, and put a lot of those yards right in front of him, too, because he is really blocking in this football game.
Well, the folks are having some kind of fun at homecoming. They've never lost on Halloween, and they're certainly well on their way to keeping that record intact. 38-7, 1 play into the 4th quarter. And Colorado about ready to get it back on offense. And this time a year ago, they could do virtually nothing against Nebraska in the 4th quarter. They were held to a season low of 140 total yards, and they're well under that right now. So if this is Colorado's big rivalry, the rival's getting the better of it today. Eric Mitchell will down it. And Colorado will have to work from its own 20-yard line again. Michigan and Northwestern. That's where Gary and I'll be next week. Number 3 team in the country against Northwestern. And then it'll be Kansas, the top team of the Big 8, against the team chasing them now, Nebraska. 7:30 on the road to the Orange Bowl will continue right here on ESPN. Kansas, by the way, has won their game, so they're 4-0 in the Big 8. Stewart, down he goes. It's Perella again, and Alberts is there too.
Yeah, that's a nice play Nebraska has on defense, and I'm going to call it a play now because we've seen it about 25 times. The 2 wide linebackers come, pinch it, and inside Perella cleans it up. I'll tell you, this Alberts, number 34, is some kind of a football player. Look him go around the tight corner, leads it up inside, and you're looking at a 290-pounder who Coach Charlie McBride said is one of the 3 best defensive tackles that have ever played at Nebraska.
The guy that helped him, number 34, a linebacker who runs under 4.7. He showed that kind of speed today. Pass complete out near the 18-yard line. Westbrook, make it Ray Caruth, rather, with the catch. Bruce Moore with a tackle.
You know, you wonder, a team like Missouri tosses up 424 yards passing a week ago. You come into a game like this, and Colorado looks like they just can't get it back to the line of scrimmage.
Stewart got hammered as he let go of the ball.
Guess who? Trev Alberts. We'll say it in stereo because this guy is some linebacker.
Speech communications major. I'd imagine he's talked to both Stewart and Detmer today in that backfield.
I'll tell you, even if he can't speak at all, he runs a 4.68 40, a 37-inch vertical jump, and for a tackle, that is tough to handle, a man like that coming around the corner.
Tremendous job on defense by Nebraska today, forcing again a Mitch Berger punt. Nice kick. Hughes at the 35. And Hughes in the open field. The punter to beat. And he's beaten him. Flags down as Hughes goes all the way to the 5. But penalty markers back at midfield.
I'll tell you, Baron Miles had a tough play on this one. First he rushes the punter and gets a mouthful of helmet, and then when he comes back, he ends up clipping or blocking from behind.
And it's going to negate a 60-yard punt return when they bring it back.
Pushing it back. On the return, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Tyrone Hughes showing his punt return capabilities.
Yeah, coming from behind, it was Baron Miles, number 14, who got it, but Hughes really showed on this play that he has the speed to take it all the way on any punt.
Last year, he was a wide receiver, then broke his wrist, and they switched him to defensive back. Today, he's played a little bit of both, and that doesn't even count the return game. Great run to watch again, even though they brought it all the way back to the 40 with the illegal block. Jones to the 43 as we go to Dr. Jerry Punch. Doc?
Guys, it began 31 years ago with a win over Colorado. What's that? We're talking about sellouts here at Memorial Stadium. 73,650. And folks, today, the 188th consecutive sellout. And believe me, these people here are not fair weather fans. They will sit here and enjoy every minute of tonight's ball game. Back upstairs.
Tell you what, you gotta love it, because those are the weather conditions we've been dealing with since this game kicked off. Andre McDuffie checks in, the fullback spot for Nebraska. Frazier, the keeper, on the option, tripped up short of the first down by about a yard. And now we'll keep a close eye on the rushing totals of Frazier and Brown and Jones and whoever might be in there. The standings in the Big 8, we showed you what it looked like coming in. Kansas has won. The Jayhawks with a brilliant season so far, a winner today, so they're 4-0. They're atop the heap. Nebraska on its way to a 3-0 match, 3-0 record, and the matchup with Kansas only a week away. And you will see it right here next week. Looks to be a first down for Calvin Jones. Wayne Davis made the tackle, but Calvin Jones with 3 touchdowns on the day has a first down here. How about Kansas and Nebraska next Saturday night? Is that going to be a beauty?
I'll tell you, if Kansas can stop this running game, I got to take my hat off to them, because this is as powerful a running game as I've ever seen. And I've watched Michigan play a few times, but they've got 2 tailbacks as good as anyone playing college football.
The one in there now is Calvin Jones. They fake an end around, and Frazier goes deep. Man wide open. Corey Dixon, number 2, all the way inside the 2. 48 yards, and that's what you can do when you can run it so well.
Yeah, you got it exactly right. First they fake it to Jones, then they fake the reverse, and there's a guy going to be about 25 yards in the open, and Frazier puts it right on it. Easy catch for Dixon, and this is an offense that is running on all cylinders right now.
Corey Dixon, a singer in a band. They've got to deal with Motown. I'm telling you what, he's singing on the sidelines after that one. And now it's 1st and goal, Nebraska. The throw to the end zone. And now both Nebraska tight ends have a touchdown. William Washington, the senior out of Tyler, Texas, has this one.
Colorado sells out this time, bringing everybody to stop the run. I mean, who's going to think you're going to pass on 1st and goal? But this is 1990 football. And I'll tell you, I've been impressed with what I've seen with Tom Osborne today. He's pulled out all the stops.
He's faked field goals. He's thrown on 1st and goal in close. And now he's got 44 points to show for it. Excuse me, 45 points to show for it with 11:23 to go in the game.
Upon learning Little Caesars is offering 2 pizzas for $5.99, the mind enters 5.
The most comfortable jeans known to man.
45-7 Nebraska. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, and Dr. Jerry Punch in, quite frankly, what is sort of a shocker here in Lincoln, Nebraska. This game was supposed to be close.
Ready when you are.
A little indecision on the kick return, and what a shot put on at the end of that one. Toby Wright with a big tackle, and Gray was there too. Let's go to Jerry Punch. Doc?
No stranger at all to the Nebraska Cornhusker faithful. Neil Smith, 87 All-American as a defensive tackle. And Neil, coming home, you got an open week at Kansas City. You got to believe that this reminds you a little bit of the defenses you played on here.
Yeah, it is. I tell you, Nebraska defense is really aggressive today. I think that they're flying around the football and making things happen. And I was in the locker room before his time, and Coach Osborne said he stretched for to get 4 turnovers, and they did just that.
Neil Smith will go back there for the play and come back down just a moment. Brad?
From the 20. Cordell Stewart overshoots Westbrook, and we'll go back down to Jerry. Go ahead, Jerry.
And Neil, back with us. It's so noisy here, it's hard to hear. Neil, you guys 4-4 at Kansas City, 1 game out behind Denver, playing extremely well.
Yeah, I think we only had 1 bad game. I think that we had last week against Pittsburgh, but we have been in every one of our games. You know, I just think that the 4 games we lost has been on the road, and it's been tough for us in that situation. But we're at home, we've been playing real well.
The former All-American and now All-Pro Neil Smith.
All right, Jerry, tell Neil that we'll trade him an ESPN cap for that Kansas City rhinestone thing he's got happening. Stewart on 2nd and 10, and he's hit as he threw again. That's been the story for the Colorado quarterbacks all day.
I'll tell you, if Bill McCartney doesn't find some running plays with these incomplete passes, this score could get up into the 60s because they are not going to stop this offense any longer, even if they put in the backups.
Look at that Florida-Georgia score. How big is that one with 4 minutes left in the Gator Bowl? And here there's not a doubt with 11:08 to go. And Colorado with 106 yards of total offense. That's it. Minus 17 yards rushing. Incomplete. Pass intended for Lamont Warren. He's probably lucky he didn't catch it. And David Noonan gives Cordell Stewart a little tap as if to say, hey, man, we know it's a long day.
That was Nebraska's 2nd dime defense. There wasn't a starter on the field.
Eight punts for Mitch Berger. Tells a story in itself. Tyrone Hughes went 60 yards before a penalty negated his last return. He's back there with Corey Dixon. Somebody will have to field this on the hop. It's Hughes. Minutes and 53 seconds to go, and it's all Cornhuskers.
Well, we're almost there. Yeah, 3 years of digging and digging, but soon.
45-7. Nebraska wanting to get to the Orange Bowl, where Miami will be playing later, and the new quarterback for the Cornhuskers, Mike Grant, who started the season. And Tommy Frazier took his spot. He did play 1 series last week. He's been fighting some back spasms, and he's in there because this one's out of touch. Frazier did a nice job, the true freshman, while he was in there, as he threw 2 late scoring tosses to his tight ends. And now Nebraska doing what it does best. Will keep it on the ground and try to just ice it away. Let's go back to Jerry Punch.
Brad, I got an answer to your question. First of all, Neil Smith made that hat he's wearing, that Kansas City hat. Actually, he didn't make the hat. He put the rhinestones on it. And he said, yeah, I will gladly trade that hat for an ESPN hat. I'd love to have an ESPN hat. So it's a deal. You give me the hat, and we'll have Brad send you an ESPN hat. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
All right, Neil.
We got a deal.
Hey, there we go.
How about that, guys?
I like it. Neil Smith, some kind of player. One of the best that ever played in his red uniform defensively. Here's McDuffie, the other fullback. Andre McDuffie out to the 49-yard line. We go out to our studio and Tim Brando.
Brad, with just under 5 minutes left, 3-play drive. He hits Hastings, he hits Hurst, and here Eric Zier hits Brian Bohannon. 24 yards, 26-24, 4 minutes left. Dog defense has to hunker down now.
No hunkering down necessary here for Nebraska with a 45-7 lead and 10 minutes left in the ballgame. Grant wants to throw. Incomplete, intended for Tremaine Bell. Don't forget, more action coming up. As first, we'll bring you the Residence Inn College Scoreboard Show. All the scores and highlights from today's action, and then The Mountaineers in the Orange Bowl against the #1 team in the country. Coy Detmer will have better days, you can bet. Today wasn't what he had planned, that's for sure. 3 interceptions and only 119 yards on the afternoon. 2nd down and 10, Nebraska. Jones. 14 more yards. Chris Hudson knocked him out of bounds. These two guys are fun to watch out of the backfield. That's 93 yards now on the day for Jones.
Takes Jones about a half a step to get the full speed catching that ball. You should look at Derek Brown, number 21 right there. The other half of the wee backs. And, you know, I've seen a lot of tandems. Washington's got a couple guys. Michigan has 3 of them. And I don't know if you have 2 better tailbacks like this on one team.
Big 8 newcomer of the year last season, Calvin Jones. Here he comes again to the 35-yard line. Picked up a couple more. He set a Nebraska freshman record last year with 900 yards on the ground. One of the more sought-after high school players. In fact, a lot of people will tell you the most sought-after high school running back to come out of the state of Nebraska since Gale Sayers back in '61. And they came out of the same hometown. The first man, McDuffie, the fullback, to the 30-yard line.
Well, there's no real secret. You know, there's been criticism of this program of Tom Osborne not being able to win big games against top 10 teams. There you see his record, 15-30. That's a fact. You can't look at it. But this program is solid. And I think with this running attack he has labeled there and his new freshman quarterback, Tommy Frazier, he has as many weapons as I've ever seen for a Nebraska team.
They have not beaten a top 10 team since 1988. That one's going out the window today. 3rd and 3. Jones drags a couple of people with him. Wayne Davis, a strong safety, does hold on to make the stop. He's a little bit short of the first down. And Jones, that is, a little bit short of 100 yards on the ground.
No, you have to be able to run the ball and be balanced, I think, to win in any league. But in the Big 8, the last 46 years, Brad, no team has won the Big 8 championship when they led the team in passing. In fact, in the last 46 years, 38 of the teams that finished first led the league in rushing.
You look at the stats for Nebraska rushing, 352 yards. And they've won 45 straight. This will be 46 when they have that many yards on the ground. It's 4th down and less than 1. McDuffie's got the first down. Near the 20-yard line. Beekert and Brown, the 2 starting linebackers for Colorado, make the hit. They've made a lot of stops today, and they have been on the field a lot.
At this point in the game on defense, you can only kind of smile and say, you know, what are we going to do to stop these guys? They got S's underneath their jerseys because, you know, you have a good defense. You have a lot of pride. You have a returning defense as good as anyone in the country, but you can't even slow them down.
You saw Beekert smiling there. This one you just have to forget before your next game. Mike Grant keeps it on the option. Ted Johnson defensively makes the tackle for Colorado.
Well, that's what a lot of people question in the Big 8. With the weather that they have late in the year, can you win it with a passing attack? Nebraska believes you have to be able to run the ball solidly. I think Bill McCartney believes that also. But at this point, his one-back running attack is not up to the standards that he needs to win in this conference.
Well, Bill certainly knew there were going to be days like this and worse. Worse wind, more snow, all of that with a passing offense. Jones trying to reach that 100-yard mark. And that might put him right about there. Or awfully close to it. We're under 7 minutes. It's 45-7 Cornhuskers. There's the situation. And a 3rd down and 4 coming up. Don't forget Miami in West Virginia yet to come tonight here on ESPN. He'll be close to the first down. Penalty markers fly into the fray at the end of the play.
Yeah, you're going to see that type of chippy play right now because you know Nebraska's doing a lot of talking. You know Colorado is very frustrated, and they're going to pick up a penalty right at the end of the game.
Beyond Chad Brown, I think, the late hit. Chad's your typical linebacker, too. For a hobby, collects lizards and snakes. You know, he's not a guy you invite over for Thanksgiving or anything. Well, the penalty will make it a first down, Nebraska, at the Colorado 5-yard line. And now you start digging through the record books. If they put this in the end zone to go up 52-7, when the last time Nebraska routed Colorado like this. Schlesinger, the fullback, touchdown.
They just keep coming at you. Third string fullback, Schlesinger, going to get this one powered in. Remember, this is the guy who dropped the fake field goal earlier on the shovel pass. Well, I don't think it matters much right now, but they broke the half-century mark with a run towards the end of the game.
Both hands around the football goalward, and was not to be denied. Tom Sealer in for the point after. 6:05 to go in the ball game. Oh, what a homecoming.
Sized Attorney General and Reef.
6:05 left in a Nebraska rout over Colorado. Sealer to punt. Eric Mitchell back. What a happy Halloween everyone will have in Lincoln in the next 6 minutes. Mitchell from the 2. Got it out to the 35, maybe the 36-yard line before he's run out of bounds. This will not end our college football Saturday, that's for sure. Don't forget, #1 Miami and the Mountaineers of West Virginia in Big East action set to square off a little bit later. Get a chance to look at Gino Chiretta and high-powered passing game of Miami. The high-powered passing game of Colorado hasn't mattered today.
No, it really hasn't. They've just haven't been able to handle the guys up front, and they need to run the ball here just to get this game over with.
Good call, Gary. And the run successful. Hill breaks free, goes down to the 45-yard line. James Hill has the only touchdown today for the Buffaloes. And he rumbles his way into Colorado, to Nebraska territory before he's brought down.
You know, James Hill was a fullback in last year's offense, but with a one-back, everyone has to play tailback. And they're just going to have to get better at a few more running plays, I think, in this offense to be successful for days like this. I mean, I think it can work, but I think you have to be able to run the ball in a one-back offense.
First down of this half for Colorado. Nowhere to hide for Lamont Warren. Lamont Warren losing yardage today. Nearly every time he touches the football.
Shit, here we go again. Want to play quarterback? 12 knockdowns. You're going to be sore the next day. That's just no way to run a pass offense. They're just getting manhandled from the outside in. Without a running attack, Charlie McBride has been able to pull the strings today.
Charlie, a former Colorado Buffalo, graduated from Colorado and says it's always a little bit special because he's got so many friends back in Boulder. But he's been here a long time as defensive coordinator with Tom Osborne, and I don't even think he could have dreamed his defense would come up with the kind of game they had today.
Yeah, I got a chuckle. He said, I make my donations every year to the school.
Yeah,
I love my school. Right. Well, he made a donation today. This is going to have a lasting impact on the Colorado program. They want to get out of here.
Under 5 minutes, 52-7 Nebraska. Pass is complete for a first down at the 34 as we go to Jerry Punch. Doc?
Guys, the news goes from bad to worse for the Colorado Buffaloes. Their defensive right tackle, Brian Diet, 260-pounder, was carried off a moment ago in a cart. He apparently got a contusion, the left lower leg, a bruise. They thought it might be a fracture. They're going to take him in and get an X-ray. Boys, just not good news on this sideline.
The good news is, Jerry, you're only 4:45 away from being able to warm up someplace. A nasty weather day and a nasty day if you're cheering for Colorado. Rashaan Salam, a kid that Bill McCartney has some high hopes for in the future, gets his first carry of the day.
You know, Jerry has to be here. He's getting paid. But there's 70,000 people.
Nobody moved.
No one's leaving yet. It's raining, it's cold, and they're just standing there. What do they want? More blood out of this game?
They're about to go 5-0 at home. They're about to win their 24th straight homecoming game, and they're going to be perfect on Halloween. Can't ask for more than that. Not only perfect, but devastating today. 52-7. Stewart lost the handle on the quarterback draw. Did he get back on it? It's so academic at this moment. Doesn't matter. Nebraska has it.
It matters if you're part of Colorado's defense, because you got to run back out there and to try to stop them again.
Penalty markers also on the field. Cordell Stewart with a bad left wrist and looking at the right wrist as if to say, we call that play?
Well, that's what he's saying. I wrote it right down right here. You said number 3. I ran number 3. That's a quarterback draw. Drops back 2 steps. You see it's a planned quarterback draw. It's knocked right out of his hand. And boy, another turnover for Colorado.
Tony Veland in, the 3rd quarterback of the day for Nebraska. Get a chin. He drops the first snap from center.
You don't suppose that was a fumble-rooski again?
I hope not.
That would really fall under pile it on.
You know it. Residents in College Scoreboard show will bring you up to date on all the big games from around the country, and then West Virginia and the Hurricanes. There's Tony, freshman out of Omaha. And again, the oranges start flying onto the turf here at Memorial Stadium. Again, Kansas definitely has plans for Nebraska next week. That's another game we'll have for you. And how big will that be? Beekert in on another tackle. He's put in a long day. Last year, Nebraska 9-2-1. The 2 losses were to Miami in the Orange Bowl and to Washington. They would like to get back there. When you lose to Miami and Washington as your only 2 losses, that's not a bad season at all. And of course, their only loss this season also to the Huskies. And with oranges in mind, let's go down to Jerry Punch. Jerry?
Now, at the beginning of the game, Brad, they were throwing oranges, thinking about the Orange Bowl, but hey, the way things have changed here, now they're throwing frozen concentrate. It has gotten cold down here. And by the way, I know Gary's going trick-or-treating, but Brad, I'm buying the hot chocolate when this one's over.
You got a deal. Nebraska will have to punt. Nebraska has juiced Colorado today. We know that. 2:14 clock running. Mike Stiggy, who's punted about as well as you can possibly punt today, in to kick it away. And we got another beauty. Charles Johnson goes all the way back to the 20. Brings it back to the 31 with 1:54 left in the game. Stiggy came in, as we said, with the 2nd best net of any punter in the country, and he's not going to hurt those statistics today. 55-yard kick again that time. Now you start wondering where Nebraska fits into the hierarchy of college football. You know, you look at the top teams, the Miamis, the Washingtons, and Michigan had to work against your old club, your alma mater today, to get their win. Nebraska's looked as dominating as anybody we've seen.
Oh, absolutely. But I just don't know how Nebraska passes up teams that, haven't lost a game or with 1 tie. That's their problem.
Another Nebraska fumble recovery. Troy Branch has got this one. That kind of day. Let's go to Tim Brando. Tim?
Brad, I've got a Heisman update for you, and the front runners had bad days. Marshall Faulk, 18 carries for 60 yards, had an injured quad in the game, but they do win against Colorado State. Garrison Hurst, even worse day, 14 carries for 41 yards. Gators win at 26-24. What does all this mean? It means that Gino Torretta can step up against West Virginia tonight at 7:30. Back to you guys.
Lee Corso's been saying that all season, hasn't he? Here's Nebraska on offense again as if they need it. Jeff Makovica on the carry this time. We are in the 3-deep area of the running backs for Nebraska. Coy Detmer, the freshman who started this ball game. Brother Ty, I'm sure, watched this one, and Ty didn't have too many bad days and a lot of great ones, and I think that young man probably will too.
Oh, absolutely. I think what you're going to look at, though, because he and Stewart are 1 year apart only, I still look for Detmer to get a redshirt possibly next year because they would like to separate those two in ages.
Thielen, the third Nebraska quarterback, brought down by Holland and Rogers. And we're down to a minute to play. The fans gearing up on the far side of the field. They don't want to just say this is a nice homecoming win. They'd like to go out there and show their appreciation.
No, I think they're waiting in line to get in the game.
Oh.
Because he's put everyone else in.
At the 35, it's 3rd down and 11, by the way.
3,000 more guys that want to go out there and run the ball behind that line.
And Brooke Behringer, the 4th quarterback, runs this one out.
Now look at this. All these guys want the ball.
And you want to be one of these Nebraska security people, huh? With the orange caps on? I don't think so. 82nd homecoming game, 23 straight, about to go to 24 in a row in the next 31 seconds.
All those people would like to have in the game, and they'd like them to put Will Shields back in to block for him, too. That's the way I'd want to go back in and run the ball for Nebraska.
This is the worst losing margin for a Colorado team since a Nebraska 69-19 win back in 1983. It just figures, doesn't it? Colorado hadn't lost in their last 25 conference games. The last team to beat them, Nebraska in 88. The last time they've been peppered this hard, Nebraska 83. And now it's about to be 52-7 here in just a few moments. Glad I'm not Jerry Punch, and hopefully he's on the near side. It's getting a little bit spooky down there on Halloween. Here they come. And that goalpost will never last. Nebraska stays unbeaten in the Big 8. Final, Cornhuskers 52. Buffalo 7. For Jerry Punch and Gary Danielson, I'm Brad Nessler. Mayhem at Memorial Stadium, and we'll send it back to Chris Fowler. Chris?
All right, thanks, fellas. Beating Colorado didn't used to mean tearing down the goalpost, but Husker fans have waited a long time to unload on the top 10 team after 7 straight losses. It'll be a wild Halloween in Lincoln. Some scores in progress here. Southern California